if a developer comes and edits something right here, the entire thing is just trash from there.
Yeah.
And it's bad. I know it's bad, but look how many queries I've done. Like this is for roles. This is creating table for user. This is creating table for sessions to keep the session IDs. This is for products, and this is after everything I added multi-tenant, so I just had to add a column to all of this table, but we don't touch none of the queries.
Mm.
So I know it's a little like, look how many queries I've done, because when the customer this custom and look at my array. This is my array of queries.
Yeah.
Look at what a
Yeah.
beautiful array. You just run that npm migrate and all of those queries are executed. And now give me your opinion about it. You've probably never seen this approach, but it's a
This
dangerous
isn't
approach.
ORM, right? This isn't ORM.
What?
No, this is straight up SQL
Yeah, this is
queries.
this is this is Ivan Orem.
Why not use ORM then? Like, why to
Um,
doing make it like so tightly coupled to that?
yeah, so that's a good question. I was telling the guys that I read blogs about how we developer are depending a lot on ORMs, and the abstractions of ORMs have some drawbacks, and a lot of developers are hitting like roadblocks when they are developing, because there are many things that, you know, ORMs, they do the job for you. So if there is they do the things that if you need performance in your SQL statements, you cannot, because you're using ORMs. You just adapted to
No,
what
but
the ORM can do for you. In the ORMs, in most of the, I will say that 90% or 98% of the use cases, it works. But I don't know. I just wanted to practice SQL, and just this is an application that is just me been developing, and that's why right now with the application that we are about to do, I mean that we are I haven't started like the data layer, but I think I'm thinking if I should use ORM or just do like queries like this one,
Mm.
which is not too bad, I believe.
Yeah, it's
you
not too
can
bad.
do.
I
Yeah.
I think that if you want people to contribute on the project and make your project accessible to other developers, more accessible, because there's definitely going to be people who totally get this and are down with something like this. But if you want to make it more
Hmm.
accessible to a larger number of people, which would increase the contributions, then I think ORM would definitely be the way to go. Not only that, I think
Yeah.
how does this affect portability or I know or modularity, like those coding practices? Is this only going to work because isn't an ORM allows you to transfer between different databases and pretty easily, right?
I believe that you cannot transfer from one database to another with ORMs. I could be wrong about it. I've just never seen
Yeah, no,
No,
because we
that.
just did. We just switched from a SQLite
the thing
database to a
is,
Postgres.
it's basically your
And that's
ORM,
that's really good.
that
Yeah.
data model, it gets your, it has basically two different layers. One is the data model, one is the relational model, basically, which is being attached to the through ORM abstraction. Now,
Mm-hmm.
your data model uh, doesn't have to change. If you change your relational model, it's just that you have to make sure that your mapping is exactly as what your data model is to the relational model. That mapping shouldn't be wrong. So it's kind of like the for example, like the terms which you're using, they need to correctly map to what you're defining in your code to the data model to your relational model. So that's the thing. Here it doesn't matter. In when you're writing queries, doesn't matter what rows or like what column names you're defining in your database, and what model you're using in your code, because ultimately you are doing the manual mapping. You
Manual
fetch the
mapping,
data.
yeah.
So there are like drawbacks on both sides, but it's just
Hmm.
that uh, are you, if you're pretty sure, 100% sure that you're not going to move to no SQL up, like not going to move out of SQL, and you are going to be fixed with just relational databases, then in that case you could go with just queries. Now regarding the
Mm-hmm.
point which you mentioned that like if you want to like control the queries on your side and not give it to the ORM, you can still write queries. There's a concept called as complex queries, I think. Like it's just that
Mm-hmm.
you can I know from the Java side, like
Oh
how
yeah,
I
I heard about that. That you can use both. Like use the ORMs for what it is good for, and then just if you have a complex query like joining four tables, and you don't want to have affect performance, then use your own
yeah, you can still
table.
do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's you can yeah. So it's like best of both worlds you can use.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Is there
but
any?
yeah,
Is there any .NET developer between us here in this group?
Any what? .net?
.NET developers? Yeah. So we in the project that we are developing, and I want to pass the mic to someone else. I'm using functional programming. The drawback is that the ORM, the most famous ORM, is Entity Framework. I don't know if y'all heard about it.
you need to get into object oriented.
It is for object oriented, specifically C sharp. And everybody is telling online like build your own ORM. I'd be like, what the heck? I don't have time to build an ORM. So I'll see if I can use Dapper. It's very, very minimalistic, very simple, but it just does prod operations. Um,
That would be a fun project, though. A nice learning experience to build an ORM.
yeah, like building an ORM in F sharp is just crazy.
Yeah, that'd be a fun project, man. But that would really teach you F sharp, man. For real, for real.
I can tell, yeah. So if you guys are not using HTTP file, I highly recommend it because all you have to do is just send request and it's gonna get documented. And it's gonna and I believe that's pretty cool to kind of like see your HTTP kind of like in a documentation way, like just like Swagger, but just through HTTP file.
Yeah, I wonder
And I
how you're
believe
even gonna get people to contribute to this project. It's gonna be challenging, man, because I don't know. I don't even know a lot of people who use like Clojure or Haskell or one of these more other functional languages that I hear people talking about more. F sharp is gonna be one,
actually,
but I wonder if there's a way to reach out to like F sharp communities. Where like, hey, we have a cool F sharp project going on, and reach out directly to these
so
communities. That would be cool because that's probably your
that
best bet on getting more people fast. You know.
yeah, so one thing is that we can have a lot of front end developer doing the front end because it's just gonna be React through Vite. But there is a
Yeah.
website called F Sharp Foundation,
Uh huh.
and this is the org. Like this is where you can find most of the resources, how to learn it, documentation, testimonial, publication, videos, like all F Sharp basics. But in the project, like you can do a .NET course real quick. It's just a very simple language to do. But
Yeah.
in the project, I added this file. It is a script file, and I will add this to the documentation. Let me see what is the script. Because I set up the unit testing already for the project.
Nice, nice.
So you see this script file. Let me just put it bigger
Hmm.
and close this terminal. So if you're a new developer, all of these comments are just gonna teach you F sharp like in 60
Oh
seconds.
yeah. Oh yeah. I
So you
love all
got
that
very
comments, dude. That's so good. I love how you
and
wrote
you see
that.
like you yeah, you can highlight this tree thing and hit Alt Enter, and that's gonna open the terminal in F sharp to show you the effects. Like it just print out the variable.
Hmm.
So this is, for example, a list right here. You put the click in this one and you click Alt Enter. It's gonna do that. Then 1 to 5. Look at the syntax. One column column, 2 to 5. So you take a list, right? So if I just Alt Enter, now look at the list right there with the merged array, adding one. So if you have 0 to 5, you can also use this syntax where you put 0, 1 at, and then 2 to 5. And if I print this, that is a variable. So if this is a function right here, believe it or not, that's the shortest function that you probably ever seen. But that is a function that take x and do x times x, right? So if I take this one and alt enter, it just print the function. It doesn't give you any value because at this point it's just a definition, like type. But then when you say, for example, square 3, it's gonna tell you 9. Add x and y is equal to x plus y.
I think
Alt
this is
enter.
good. This is good for the project, but if you're gonna have new people working on the project, they should really be typing all this out themselves. Like they should actually be getting the muscle memory in their hands and typing this whole file themselves. You know?
Oh yeah, like you can. It's really hard for you to go to any project and that you don't know anything about the language and start contributing to the back end. It's just gonna be hard to learn from the project right there on the spot. So I'm
Yeah.
just providing this as a help for someone who wants to learn first
Yeah.
the syntax and then analyze like, okay, now I know variables, a list, like mapping, iterating through a list and converting. This is just like arrays, map arrays, it's just like the array API in JavaScript. So if you can learn these concepts, then you'll be able to navigate to the server project and see, okay, let me see what Ivan did. We have functions. And now I know because this is a function, this is 2 parameters right here, and Ivan is just sending a JSON back to the client. And yeah, so I'm planning to do the best I can to onboard people because I know, guys, I could contribute to an enterprise application with more than 200,000 lines of code in less than 2 months in F#. I had 0 F#. In
Wow.
2 months, I was contributing to the backend of that enterprise application.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get some people actually learning F#. That'd be pretty cool. You definitely still want people who already have the experience too. That way you get this thing built faster, and you have other F# developers, like good ones, to talk to about things. You know.
Yeah, so if everybody is gonna ever join to this project, they just have to clone the repo and at this point just say Docker compose build. I don't think I need to build, but just for the people who are new to the project, it's gonna build the images. This is front end and back end. I'll do Postgres today and link everything in the network. But I'm planning to go just to the front end and work with mock data and leave the back end alone because I wanna have like a structure of the data that I will need before I actually model the data in the back end. So what ways that do you guys like the better? Like, do you build the back end with the model that you're having in mind first, like with a diagram that you build, or you go to the front end, you do your cards, your data, your rating, or whatever data you're gonna use in the front end, and then you say like, okay, now I know what I'm gonna need.
I always
the
do.
back end.
I always do the front end first. Personally, I do
Okay.
the front end first, and I don't even build like I the way that I discover what the database schema needs to look like is by the process only runs in memory. And so once I shut down the program, all the data is lost essentially. Like all the running code is lost. And so I'm like, oh man, I have a problem. I need this data to persist. Only then will I move the data to a place that can persist. So I'm only adding features as I need them. And then by the time I get to the part where I need to build the backend of the database, I already know all the data that's being stored. I already know all the data I need. You know, so it's almost like my method of figuring out exactly what I need for the backend.
Okay. Yeah, so finally, this is the project for unit testing. I'm using the XUnit library, and I'm planning to do test-driven development, but I'm not an expert on that. I believe it's just building the function that make them fail, and then just build your backend to make them succeed.
Can I hear really quickly? Because that was a really good question. I want to see what other people's perspectives are on that. Like Patrick, you were chatting a little bit earlier. Aditya, I'm curious about your perspective. You building the front end or the back end first, and why, and how?
Well, Now
Yeah,
me,
I would say. Oh, yeah.
think
Do you,
that
you want to go for it?
you go first.
Sure. I would say neither. I would say figure out what the customer requirements are first. Because like ultimately, like that's going to drive both the front and back end. It's like you don't know what either is going to look like until you understand the customer requirements.
Mm.
Or it could be 500 something. The server that you're making the request to.
Go ahead, Aditya.
Yeah, I think someone's speaking.
No, he just has his mic unmuted. I think like a TV's on in the background. Brandon, you want to just mute up if you're not chatting? Thank you.
So my perspective is it depends. I mean, so it depends on what. So if your product is more about like from customer oriented, like Patrick said, so in that case, for example, like so there are some products where it's more about like so I can give you an example. For example, like let's say if you're building like an analytics platform for a company to see like how their users are actually using their products. Now, in that case, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have the backend ready first, because in that case, you need to understand what data you already have with you and whether that data can be exposed or not.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends, like what is the problem you're solving. In that case, you can decide whether to first go with front end or back end. Now, there are some situations it's more about like front end oriented, or like for example, let's say if you're building a portfolio for someone. So in that case, it's more about front end. Back end can be built later, but that's what like the user wants to see. Like he wants to see the front end.
Mm. Yeah, that's
So it
really what you
depends.
can show them and they understand for the most
Yeah,
part.
there are some, so like it depends on, like he said, like it depends on the client. There are some clients who understand that backend is important, but there are some clients who doesn't give damn about backend and they just wants to see, they want to see the UI. They want to see like, oh, how
Yeah.
it looks and all. They
Something
don't care what you
something
have
they
done
could
in backend.
interact with.
Yeah, they don't care about backend. They just want to see the UI. It looks good. Okay, they are done.
Yeah,
They are happy.
yeah. So you two are looking at it from the perspective of already having customers, and so the reason why I use my approach is because I'm not working on any applications that actually have any users right now.
No, for
Well,
example,
but you
let's say
do. You always have a user. You always have a customer,
Well, you're
even if
talking
you're
about
just
like
building a small.
creating user stories. You're saying?
I, I,
Uh, no, even like higher level than that. Like you always have a user that you're building it for, whether it's
True,
you or
true.
somebody else. Like
I mean,
think about like if you're building a small demo application just to figure out how a certain technology works, right? You're the customer there. You're the consumer of that app.
Yeah.
I mean,
That makes
like
sense.
the repair project which you built, like let's say if you have presented that in this session to people, just the backend, they wouldn't have understood. But you also did that. Let's say you just show the UI to people. Don't even care about backend. Doesn't matter what you've done in backend. You just show the UI to people. People will be attracted with it. Okay, oh, this is the UI. This is what is going to happen. They don't care about what's backend. They will work on it later on, but they get attracted through it. So UI is something like which is used to attract the investors or the clients.
Yeah.
Backend is something which is basically to show the power of the system, like what it can do. So,
Yeah. I agree.
like,
All right, Ivan, you want to go ahead and share what you were going to share? Then we'll break out into groups. We got any new people? Hal, what's going on? Electron, what's going on? Anna, what's up? What's up? Yash, I believe y'all are new. Electron has been here, I believe. Hal and Yash are new. What's going on, guys? Or gals? Can't tell.
Hey, how you doing? I'm new to developing and engineering. I was just wanted to see what pair programming was about, so I just came into the group.
Cool. Welcome. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and share the projects. Actually, Ivan's sharing the project he's working on right now. I'll go ahead and share some of the stuff we got going on, and then if anyone actually has a new project that they want to share and they want to get people on a team and start building that project, we'll open it up for you to share as well. And hopefully we'll break out into our groups before 8, so we have at least an hour to code. But everyone's always welcome to stay after and continue coding and all that stuff. Yash, what's going on?
Hey, I'm in a similar situation as how I saw
meetup post on meetup.com and that I just joined.
Cool, cool. Where are you checking in from?
Uh, you mean like what city I live in or
Yeah.
what state? I live in Kentucky right now.
Okay, nice. Welcome, welcome. I don't really know much about Kentucky. I feel like there's a lot of farms out there. Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of horse farms.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, welcome, welcome. What do you code with?
React, and I started learning like Next.js. I'm not really a actual real developer yet. I'm trying to get a job, so I thought I'd check this out, see if I can
Nice.
learn something.
Nice. Well, welcome, welcome. All right. All right, Ivan, you want to go ahead and break down your project, and then whoever wants to work with you on your project can break out into breakout room number 1 with you, and then I'll go ahead and share what I have to share. I'm actually just gonna share. Actually, let me go ahead and share really quickly first because
Yeah,
this appeals to everybody. So let me just open this up really quickly. So this is something I built yesterday. I shared it really quickly yesterday as well. I just shared my screen, so if you double click on my name, you should see my screen. npm run dev. All right.
Oh, you have another application open, right?
Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I built mobile first. The only thing I think I need to do now, before just like getting it live, is build like a desktop version, essentially, because I only have it built for mobile right now. But I'm keeping it super simple. If anyone wants to go ahead and perk this up a little bit and make it look better, that'd be totally fine. All this stuff is static right now, so you can see this is actually my core project. I'm working on this one right now independently most of my days. And then you can see, do you have experience with at least one programming language? So this is for brand new people. The platform I'm building, it's really building a bridge between never typed a line of code in my life and in your life to contributing to open source projects. And then if you have at least experience with one programming language, I want to put all of our projects down here, so you can see I have repair. This one has a GitHub, so you could go here and you can see read the README, figure out how to get started, all that good stuff. You see the tech stack, you see a description of the project, just something like Aditya was saying, something that looks good, that appeals to people and inspires people to get involved. And then we have this project here, another one, same thing. It's live. And then I have a couple other ones. This one I actually is the one I'm most excited about, because it uses libp2p, decentralized nodes. So it's like a decentralized network using React Native, and it's a mobile app. This one's another cool one, and then another one, and then just social media links. So Ivan, I'd like to add your project here, and then if anyone else has any other projects, that'd be sweet. Right now, like I said, it's all static data, but eventually I would like to import the data from GitHub. I believe they have an API where you could pull in project data, so we could render this list based on project data from GitHub. That way we could have like avatars of contributors and just a little bit more information to make it look a little bit better, that sort of thing. Important information. So I'm going to deploy this week, just static, to get it live and have like a centralized place to share projects. And then so if anyone has any like Ivan, I believe you're the only one right now. I don't know if anyone else is going to share any projects they're interested in working on tonight, but I would like to add them here and try to increase the odds that we get contributions on all of the projects with this one here. And if anyone has any ideas on this, feel free to just let me know. So that's that. I'll be deploying it this week, and we'll go from there. I want to get it just up and running live, get some feedback, that sort of thing.
So you're going to have all of the current projects that any of us are working on in the app?
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be nice. And it might even inspire some people to start coding, like if I share it with people I know who aren't coders. They're just like, wow, I'm actually really passionate about music. I would love to get involved in this booking system application, but I don't know where to start. You have a place to start, you know. And the big thing is, like you were showing with your comments, Ivan, bro, like the when I saw your comments, I'm like, instantly came to my mind, like, I just want to make that a standard practice personally. You can see even
yeah.
in this application here, I'm adding
Hey,
comments. So
you know
come to the
what?
file and, you know.
It's not a me. I copied those the entire 60-second tutorial from another page, so I didn't do the comments myself.
Oh, gotcha.
Even though
gotcha.
I agree with you, I really love how organized it looks. A lot of people don't like a lot of comments because it can get the code really crowded.
Yeah, true.
So, but you know, many your functions and variables should tell by themselves what they're doing. And there are some codes that maybe you will need to add, but it's kind of like when you hover in a function, you want that function to tell you what is it doing. I'm translating text, or I do this, I text this as a parameter. This is where I believe that commenting makes a lot of sense. But for that particular file, it's just a tutorial. How do you get on board with F#?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Have you guys not used JS docs ever?
No, never.
So, I mean, I know that I use Java docs a lot for Java, but search JS docs. So I just searched, I felt like if Java docs has that, then there should be something like JS docs as well.
JS
So
doc.
this is basically a particular documentation generator for functions. You can see the structure, how it defines.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah.
cool. And you just have to, it gives you mock data, and then you just have to.
And ultimately you can also create a separate PDF file, which will like an HTML file, which will be like kind of a documentation of all your APIs in one. So it's like a interactive HTML page, which will explain like how you have the man page for different other languages. It's just like that. It creates a separate HTML.
Yeah, this seems like a really cool tool. Another thing I want to do just to make it easier for people to contribute is just write unit tests that describe the things that need to be done, and kind of like write some comments for where the actual code is going to go, that sort of thing. I want to make at least for the projects I'm working on, I want to make contribution as easy as possible, you know? So like a DT has said, that documentation tool looks really, really cool. The testing looks cool, and then comments on a reasonable level. Because like Ivan said, we don't want the code to just become like a book. Though I have read some code there's some code bases, like some C code bases that I've read, where I want more comments, especially being new to a language. If I'm able to read through like a SQLite database clone replica code base, and I could see, and there's comments describing exactly what everything is and what they do, and man, it makes it so much easier to learn the language. So that F# file was pretty nice. But all right, you want to go ahead and share your project, Ivan? Then y'all could break out and actually get some coding done, and then I'll share the repair project. I'm just trying to get one quick little task done tonight, but it might take longer than I thought it was gonna take. And then we'll open it up. If anyone else has any projects they want to work on, we could open it up and you could share that.
Of course. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick and give everybody a very quick overview of what is it.
What's up, John?
Yeah.
How are you? Oh, I was talking to the other John. You've been here recently. Just saying what up.
We're working on that Next.js project. Well, we actually transferred it into Next.js. Whenever I started looking at Next.js, I really liked the idea of that framework.
Are you working on? Which one are you working on?
The microcart. It's the one that me and Big Nate kind of started. Big Nate's not here, I don't think, but Anna got involved on it too.
Okay, nice. Cool. Oh yeah, the microcart. Yeah, I like that one. All right, cool. Awesome. So there is. So Ivan, you go ahead share. John, you could go ahead give a little quick explanation of your project if people want to work with you, and we can start breaking out and getting some code written. Oh, you shared. All right.
Can you guys see? Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yeah.
So, this is this is a project that I call it Momentum, and initially we put My Place because we didn't have a name, but right now, I believe that for now we have Momentum. We have a README file that when you see the README file is gonna give you a brief introduction, and there's still a lot to do. It just says Momentum is a great place for hosting your property, just like Airbnb. Visit the place, so you're gonna be a user that eventually you will be able to host your property, but also book places or any listings that you find in the app and discover nearby places. And this is the nitty gritty of what the application, because I don't want to do an Airbnb clone. I do want to do a better algorithm at matching things that you can do locally when you visit a place. So let's say that you go to Brazil and you stay in Rio de Janeiro. You want to know, let's say that Carnival is this week, and hey, this application is gonna tell you you're gonna spend around this amount. You're gonna eat, and it's gonna give you average, and the average is gonna constantly be improved by the customer input and the user's input. So initially, we want to the host or the person that is hosting the place. That's the expert. So let's call it domain expert. That's the expert of the place. They know about local food. They know about local activities, and we want them to create a better experience for whoever is visiting the city. So by them entering the data, how much how much they themselves spend on food, and how much they spend on activities like kayak or four-wheeling in the mountains or whatever, then the application is gonna bring up full experience to whoever is hosting the place. Many people might ask me, like, Ivan, what about the business? Are the business going to be the one that they manage their own business locally? I'm not trying to go that route because I don't want to be centered on businesses in this application. We could in the future allow people take ownership of a business and update images or whatever. But for now, we're just letting the users, the host, to create the experience. And if the experience exists, we're gonna allow the host to maintain or users to comment and bring reviews to that experience. So I'm modeling the data, but for those React lovers, I'm doing global state management today. I'm setting up Material UI. I might do a lot more like components. So today is a client-side day. The project consists of a client and server architecture. It uses Docker. So when you clone this repo, you just have to Docker compose build and then Docker compose up, and it's going to run the application, the client in the port 3000, and the server, the backend in the port 5000. So if I go, for example, I have it running right now.
Can I ask a question really quick? Because something just came to me
Yes,
as you
of
were
course.
explaining this to me, and I was just thinking, is there something that exists where let's just say this application has an enum, like a set number of host services. So as a host, I sign up for this site and I check off the services that I'm able to offer. Let's just say I'm able to offer like 7 out of 30, for example. And so I become a host on this application. And so when somebody comes and visits, I host them. I provide the services that I host to them, take them out to good restaurants, bring them to the nice places, museums, events, all that sort of thing. The more energy and time that one of these services requires, the more points you earn. And then it's also based on the rating that someone who visited you, that you hosted, gives you. So when they leave and they go back to their country or their state or their town or whatever, you're rated by them, but you're also rated by what services you actually offered to them. And you actually earn points based on the hosting that you provide. And those points are able to be used for you to travel to other hosts in other countries or other locations. So by being a host, it makes traveling for you easier as well.
Exactly.
Is that
I
what
haven't
this
think
is?
about it. I haven't think about the point. That's a great feature to implement. But if you see this diagram, you'll see that, for example, you are a host. You sign up in the app, right? And you have a home. You have a house in Boston and another one in California. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know both places because you have the houses over there.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you have somebody like being the whoever that maintains your house in California, and that person is gonna be managing your property. But let's just take to the simple, and let's say that only one account managing two places. In California, we have Taco Benito that you will spend around $30 for two people to eat tacos, right? And you have let's say that you have Domino's Pizza nearby the house, and let's say that you spend in Domino $28. The application is gonna wrap up how much more or less you're gonna spend on a day eating two meals from these two places. And if you are another user coming from another, you're a visitor and you're coming from Germany, you rent this place to this host, and when you rent this place you will become ready because this place is gonna tell you how many miles you are away from this taco and how much is more or less a travel. But remember that the host is the one that needs to provide the relevant information for you to have a good visit, because you don't know nothing at this point. You're blank. You don't know where you're going. So this app need to tell you where are you going, what are the activities of things to do, and bring you the full experience. But that's on the host to give you that experience. You know what I mean? We don't want to link the host to any businesses. So we want to have businesses separated. So this also this property, if it's another house that you have nearby, can be also linked to those businesses nearby that already exist. And for that, we might use Dijkstra algorithm in the future to have like what's the closest edge or what nearby of this property. But also provide a host, for example, a list of businesses that the host can link to a place. Does the idea it's now a little more clear?
Yeah.
So let's say that you visit the application. The first thing that you're gonna say, I want to go to California. The application is gonna bring you to this place, and it's gonna show you the picture of the room. This is my house. I have a dryer and washer. Blah 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 blah. But then in the same host profile, you're gonna see down below things that you can do. You can go to the beach, and you're not gonna spend. That's free. You can go to eat Chinese food in a buffet, and you're gonna spend a lot, around this amount of money. And remember that when you're finished with your visit, you're gonna go to the app and say and vote if that data is accurate, and say like, no, I spent 200 instead because I'm a eater. And the application is now going to use your input and the host input to provide an average, a more accurate average. Understood?
Yeah, I like it. So it's like almost itinerary automation, or not even that. It's just it shows you all of the available options, so it does the research for you, and then you're able to select them on your own.
Exactly. It's like having Airbnb, and what is this application that you see ratings from businesses? It's very popular. Is
Yelp.
Yelp. It's like having Airbnb and Yelp merged.
Yeah, I like it.
It's basically that.
I like it.
So the whole idea is that you get a full experience and you know where you're going and what things you can do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like I said,
So this
you have
application that you're building, I feel like this is for the demographic that wants to plan out their vacation. Who they want
exactly.
to know all the options, they want to have their itinerary, they want to be busy, not the whole time, but they want to know what they're doing when they get there kind of thing.
It's for
Planners.
travelers, 100%. Oh yeah.
Planning
It's for
travelers.
people traveling for business, but you know, everybody eats. Everybody wants to do something different on a
Yeah.
travel, on
Yeah.
a journey. So
The feature
it's
that
just
I
for
brought
everybody
up,
to
the
travel.
feature I brought up is more for people who are just like, hey, I'm interested in having a good day on the beach, and then you could be paired with hosts who are able to provide that service.
There's a lot of things that we need to consider. We can have some haters, like users, hosts that don't want to provide information, but in the end, that's against themselves because they want to have a good experience for the visitors. So
Exactly.
they need to provide as much good information as they have
Yeah.
available on them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to kind of like finish the setup, we have server client, and this didn't run before, but now it runs, and now we have this is the test. You can write the meaningful name like API health test, and this is where we are expecting a message object that says the API route are working as expected. And when you come here, you can refresh this. This is an extension. I have to document all that in the README, but let it real quick. These are the unit test. So we're gonna be. This is called building like the back end. So you don't have to turn on the back end. The back end is actually running right now in another port. So this is just kind of like to create the back end, create the server, create a client, and do the response. This is doing asynchronous operations, and then the test must be like, okay, the response, the string that is returning this async functionality should match this message. So if I run all of these tests, they are gonna just say if it's good or not. So this is kind of like unit testing with F# and using XUnit. If I change this hello, this is another way to do it. I'm using a library where you can just say test, and with this syntax, you can put your expectations inside, but you can also use assert.equal. And if I put, for example, hello, and save it and run just this test, it'll fail. And that's kind of like the unit testing. I'm planning to do integration testing because, of course, we're going to have login, all of that things. But that's what I set up yesterday. And today I'm planning to just work on the front end for those front end lovers. So that's pretty much it from me. Let me know if you have any questions. No questions? Okay. Stop streaming.
Can you put your link, your GitHub link here on the chat?
Yes.
And have you like created issues which you want others to work on this project for?
If I have created issues,
Yeah, have you created issues so that like we can check the issues and then request whether we want to work on that issue for that project? Have you created that?
honestly, I have not, because this is kind of like it's been like a setup mostly. So we don't have anything excited yet going on. And to be honest with you, I'm not. I don't have the experience of creating issues, so this will be a great opportunity. If maybe you later can show me how to do it, I can learn from you, because I've never done issues in GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. They're pretty simple, and you could even create one of the boards where you create different tasks that need to be done that are in the to-do, in progress, or completed. And after you create those tasks that you put on the board, you can convert it to an issue, so it automatically creates it as an issue for you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna paste here the GitHub repo. Please, everybody, be mindful that this is not having any reviews or any constraints for merging. So anybody can just go ahead and destroy it right now. That's something that maybe we need to address later, that we need at least people that, Jim, you tell me how to do it. Like we will need, because I didn't put this in my own repo. I put it in the O1 software network repo.
Yeah.
I'm in channel, and right now it just accepting contribution from anybody in the world, and
Okay. So what we'll do,
anybody can merge.
we could go ahead and just lock off the master branch and make it so only you could accept pull requests, or like you and whoever you're comfortable with, and then people could
Then
just
we add people that as people gain experience on the project. For example, somebody comes, and then we make them contributors that they can do anything too.
Yeah,
Like even
exactly.
me, yeah. If I do a React feature, that person can review and say like, no, Ivan, you using like 40 if nested statements. Ivan, you need to work on this, and that'll be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That will not happen, trust me, but it's just an example.
Yeah, no, it happens to me all the time, man. So it's nice to have people reviewing your own code for sure. All right, cool. So who wants to work with
I
Ivan
have a
tonight?
I have a quick question. Okay? Do we have a way to rename a project
Yeah,
and call it Momentum from now on?
yeah, you could change the name in the GitHub repo. I could do that for you. Or I believe
Okay.
you could
And
do
what
that.
about-
You should be able to do
What
that
about
too.
what about my fork? Like, do I need to refork? I've just never done it before.
I'm not positive.
Let me call it Momentum in your
Yeah,
your
'cause-
channel, so
Yeah, you should be
So-
able to change it.
and rename. It looks like it changed. You guys confirmed it's just Momentum now. So I'm just gonna copy this and put it in here.
Yeah. Yep. It's momentum. Cool.
And let me see what happens to me in my branch. How is it gonna do? So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Feel free to work with me, guys. I'll be doing React mostly today. So
All right. So Ivan's got the Airbnb Yelp combo app. He's gonna be breaking out into breakout room number 1. It's F# and .NET, but he's gonna be working on the front end tonight, so you'll get some UI experience. So, do you want to just hop down there, Ivan, and whoever wants to join you, or who wants to join Ivan tonight?
Who is doing front end?
Ivan's doing front end,
What?
I believe. What are you using, Ivan?
I'm using React, TypeScript, Vite. I mean, Vite's just compiled, but I'm using Overmind global state management, and I don't know. I'll just be doing like I don't even have a design in mind. I'll look for something in Pinterest, and we start from there. Or maybe take a look at Airbnb and see how they look, and just do it similar, not equal but similar.
Anyone else?
And Material UI. I'm using Material UI and Styled Component, my favorite.
Yeah, I'll join you.
All right,
Well,
cool.
thank
So y'all two could drop down to breakout room number 1 and start coding and all that stuff. If anyone else wants to join them, feel free to just drop down to breakout room number 1 with them.
Sounds good.
And then we have John and Anna. You guys are working on a micro shopping cart, correct? Do one of y'all want to break that down?
John, go ahead. Okay. So we built the skeleton of the front end in Next.js. I think it's pretty solid. We have a lot of work to do. It's not much to look at in the browser. So that's probably what we're working on tonight. We have some pages and some components that need work. So if anybody wants to help with that, there's definitely stuff to do. I don't know how to make it sound. John knows more of the back end stuff.
What are a couple of the features of the application?
So the microcart, what the whole idea of it is the ability to be able to generate a cart without much code knowledge. So more towards the client end instead of the developer end, but the developers will have the ability to put API hooks into it. But more along the lines of giving people the ability to generate sort of a small micro cart in sort of a Shopify sort of sense. So that way you have a user to mini shopping or mini micro shops or micro carts or whatever.
Like each business would have its own cart.
Yeah. So we would generate the carts, keep up with the cart data, products, or the shop data, using multiple databases.
So are you going to be able to, like, as a developer of an application, can I just embed your shopping cart into my application?
That would be the idea. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool.
But even without no developer knowledge, you should be able to do that too as well, where you just drop the code and that it generates.
True.
This was more of like a learning project because we all want to learn React and we all have different skill levels. So if anybody wants to learn, you're welcome to join. I am learning. I'm researching 90% of the time. So
Love it.
Here, I can show kind of the database structure we kind of came up with, and this is with the help of Anton, which thankful for that, Anton, with helping me on this database structure, because we came up with kind of a neat idea on how it would kind of look. So this is Workbench. This is going to be built into Postgres, but this is kind of like the product side. So the cart, as it gets multiplied, this is your cart, essentially your cart database based on whoever. So you would have your product would be based on that. So product, and then you have your order to product. This is what's going to hold all your order information, like all your cart information. So the order itself will keep up with the shipping, the status of the cart, categories. Each thing will drop into its own category when it comes to a product. And this will kind of be how it keeps up with the cart end of things. And then you'll have the Microshop admin, which will kind of give you an admin table and a user table that will go into being able to keep up with. So like, let's say an admin wants to keep up with, so let's say you're the owner of, Best Buy shop, and you want a cart from us, Microfi. So you generate a cart, it generates basically one of these templates right here out for you, and then it creates a user and an admin, or an admin under it. Under that, you can create users with roles. So like, let's say you want somebody to be kind of a helper or an admin on your end of the shopping cart, you can give them that role. Or they could just be a normal user based in that cart. And we built we're starting to build it off Next.js, and we're just doing React and Express. But we ended up putting it in Next.js because we found a lot of advantages within the framework itself with routing and
Are you still sharing something? Because it says stream paused on my screen.
Sorry, let's see here. Change windows. So right here, basically, and this is kind of the idea, is we're going to, let me just share my screen here, make it a little easier. Whoops. All right, so this is kind of what it's outputting right now. It's not much at the moment. The code itself is built in Next.js. We got our components kind of outputted already with our item components, which Anna and Nate worked on when it comes to some of these, the nav bar and other components like these. But today I think we're going to spend more time on the visual end and trying to get a front up at this time.
Yeah, get something looking nice.
Yeah, say, I came across, my cousin actually showed me this. He's a developer somewhere else, but he showed me this Snipcart, which I thought would be a good base for the cart in a sense, because this actually has an API built out. And the cool thing is that the pricing is just 2% per transaction plus the gateway fees. So we can almost charge just the 2% to get away with it. But yeah, say they have a lot of stuff built into this with an API.
Depending on which payment system you use, right?
Well, that's the yeah. Well, it's plus the payment, so it's 2% of the transaction plus the payment gateway.
Plus
so
the fees. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, whatever payment gateway fees are there are, yeah. So, and they have, I think, all kinds of different types of yeah, you can use products and inventories. They have ways to optimize it. RESTful APIs. Trying to think here. Saw something in here where it actually showed that it uses PayPal, uses Google Shop, uses Fly or Flies or something. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it uses all the main gateways primarily. So all the gateways are primarily built into this already.
Yep. I like it. I think it's a nice, challenging project. Cool. So you and Anna are working on that. Is anybody interested in working on that with them?
Yeah, I am.
Brandon? Anyone else? All right, y'all can feel free to drop down to breakout room number 2 and start working on that. If anything, before I sign off tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and like share the code that that I worked on tonight, and we could just all meet back in the co-working space and just share a little bit of the progress we made tonight, that sort of thing.
Sure. All right, I'll be in room number 2.
Cool.
Bye.
Actually, nah, room number 1. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Ivan, you and Aditya pop into room number 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
I was like, full house.
All right, cool. So I'll go ahead and share some of the stuff I'm planning on working on tonight. Actually, before we get started, does anybody... Patrick, you're new. Yash, you're new. Hal, you're new. Electron, I believe you've been here before. What's up, Anton? And then I see a W ... I believe you're new. I don't recognize that picture. But do any of you guys have a project that you want to work on? Anything you're passionate about or that you think would be fun to build with people? And if it's solid, if people want to work on it with you, then we can go ahead and try to send people your way as well. Help you build that project.
Hey, Jim, I just had a quick question about your project real fast.
Yeah.
Before we dive like too far in, and while we have everybody here, like I know the reason I came here was like to improve my programming ability and by like learning from others and that kind of thing. And so I love your project. I think like I was like, where has this been? I'm curious, like, if the reason that I came here is the same that other people came here too, because I feel like if so, really showcasing like the technologies that are behind each project is super helpful, as well as having like a variety of different technologies in like different projects on your on that page would be awesome. How do you feel about just like asking people, hey, what technology did you come here to get better at, and like throwing that in the chat, just so we can see if that's something that other people were coming here for as well.
That's a really good point. You mean something like a poll? Like in the beginning of every session, just doing a poll with a bunch of different technologies and seeing what people are interested in?
Yeah, or even just like asking people to just throw in the chat right now, just like, hey, what are you coming here to learn? Are you coming here to learn about pair programming because that's like the name, or are you coming here to learn a specific technology? Really going back to that like customer-centric approach of like, how do you tailor this to what people are looking to get out of the sessions?
Customer centric from my point of view.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's go ahead and so we got Anton, Electron, Hal, Ian, Patrick. I just see WattBot999. I don't know. You want to unmute and just tell me your name, and I don't have to call you that, or you could keep it. I don't care. And Yash, you guys want to go ahead and just
I'm
post?
Lawrence. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good. A lot of the names are like this. Lawrence, Lawrence.
Correct. Yes.
Got you. All right, that'll be easier. All right, so you guys want to go ahead and just post in the chat about the tool or the programming language that you're trying to learn?
And for those of you guys looking for the chat, I don't use Discord a ton. It's in the on the left. There's a little open chat icon. It's a little chat bubble. You can click that.
Yeah, you can see we're all in the co-working space, peer programming sessions. There's 3 icons on the right: an open chat, a create invite, and an edit channel. Go ahead and just click on that open chat.
Hey everyone, I just use a pause to say I don't have much time because of this new schedule. It's a little bit scuffed for me, actually. But if you have questions about the Docker setup or something like that, I can answer them. If no, I will just wrap up it soon.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. You want me to you want to share your screen, or I can share my screen and just pull up the files that you added, and you could do like a quick overview?
Like, yep, it will be great. Maybe if someone just try to do a setup, and we just look through everything, because like I have that setup done on my laptop, and it won't be that efficient as for example someone just do that, and we will see how it's going.
So you're saying someone who doesn't have even anything set up on their computer, we can just walk
have that, and if I just open and like show this file or that file, it won't be so cool. Yeah, of course I can do that, but
no,
I don't know if you have here someone that who actually works on that project and like didn't do a git pull from last master.
I think in here right now it's just me and you working on that project. The DT is helping me out sometimes.
Then maybe it's not super interesting for everyone else. Maybe we can postpone it then, because like so many people will be just looking and like don't understand what is going on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna work on it a little bit tonight, so whoever works on it with me, if they're interested in continuing to work on it, then we could set it up with them.
Yep. Okay, then just ping me in chat. I will go do my stuff. Like if I am just free for that, I will join again.
Copy that. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Yep. All right, so Yash, React next. Look and learn how to collaborate, learn what standards are expected to while contributing, the process of planning a project and deciding what tasks to work on. Would like to learn React Native, haven't started learning yet. All right, cool. E&C Docker. I'm so new that I'm interested in everything. Oh, I remember the days. Though I'm still kind of like that. The pair programming aspect of is interesting because I've never done that before. I've been using JS, React, React Router, Express, Next, Postgres. Cool. Pair programming, Angular, Firestore, React Native. That's interesting that people look at pair programming as a skill, it seems, from the way I'm reading this.
Yeah, I think that was the thing that primarily drew me to this. I was like, oh, I want to program with people because I can't even count the number of times that I've tried to like learn something new, a new technology like React or Angular or React Native, whatever, and thought like, if only I could pair program with somebody who was good at this and kind of do like the easier stuff while they're kind of like coaching me through it. I think that's a huge benefit of pair programming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. Yeah, it's so much better, man. Even thinking about we do data structure and algorithm competitions on Saturday nights, and when you're working with other people, it's like the competition is going on. We all have an easy, two mediums, and a hard problem, but we're constantly having conversation throughout the event, like asking each other questions that could potentially lead you to the answer, or a thought process that leads you to the answer without actually telling you the answer. And then we all share solutions at the end, so I get to see different solutions in the language I used, and I also get to see the same solution in different languages. So it's like you're learning syntax, you're learning different solutions, you're learning different ways of thinking, and it saves you so much time. Like if I'm in this session solving this by myself, I have to go do a whole bunch of research, but chances are when I'm in the room with people who are also coders, like we all know something well, right? So if I don't know something well, normally someone else does, and they just start breaking it down. It's so much more engaging because you could interact with them. You could ask them questions. You could ask for clarification, whereas you can't do that with like YouTube videos or tutorials, you know? That's partially, I like how you're looking at it from the perspective of like, this is a business and y'all are the users and that sort of thing. Because the reason why I'm doing this at all is because I'm just like you. I'm working on my own projects. I want to continue to learn, and I just want to code with people sometimes. You know, like for me, it's a lot of independent, and we did pair programming in the past, and it was really fun. You learn so fast. You meet a lot of people. You network. People get jobs. Like it's just such a good environment. And so the main reason I even brought these pair programming sessions back was not from the business perspective. It was from the trying to network, trying to make friends, trying to learn. Same position a lot of you are in, you know? So. But cool. So it looks like...
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, like yeah, completely. I totally get that. I love it, and it's a great point about like even if you have like two beginners together, they're gonna have skill sets that are not entirely overlapping, so they're gonna still be able to help each other. So that's what I love about pair.
Yeah, and different interests. Like one might like structuring the HTML, and the other one might be a more creative CSS type person, and it's just like you find great synergies. A lot of the time it's choppy because people are figuring each other out. They're like, I don't think like that. We should do it like this, you know? So there's definitely some friction too, but eventually you start seeing some synergies and people working together really well who are just really different. It's so cool. I love it. I love seeing it. I love seeing people just break out into rooms and like working on their projects. Then at the end of the night, come back together. They'll show us the progress they made on their project. And like one's an F#. I don't know F#, but I get to see F# code. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool, man. I love it. All right. So Lawrence is the only one that said Java. Aditya is really good with Java. Like that's his main language. He's been doing that since he even been doing his master's. So yeah, he's good with that sort of thing. Let's see. Yeah, lots of JS, lots of React, lots of front end stuff. Patrick, what makes you want to learn Angular? Just curious. That's rare. I hear that very
Is it
rarely.
really?
Yeah. Well,
I feel
unless they
like,
work for like a big corporation where the pair is like Java and Angular kind of thing with TypeScript. I see that
Yeah,
sometimes.
no, I work in a startup, and we chose Angular because there's this paradigm that React is the easiest, and that's why everybody chooses it. But looking into it, we actually found that React startup times actually take longer than Angular, just because Angular already has everything built in that you need. And when I say startup times, I mean like getting started with a project. And we do a lot of prototyping to make sure that it's what customers are looking for and customers are going to get value out of it. So Angular works a lot better for that for us.
It sounds like you do a lot of research before you even choose a technology.
Oh yeah, it's super important. You can't just like jump in and be like, oh, everyone's using React, let's use React too.
Yeah, I would love to see one of those analyses, dude, honestly.
Yeah, happy to share. We have quite a few of them for different projects that we've worked on.
Yeah, that'd be sweet, man. I would love to see it because I don't look at it like that at all. But then again, I've been self-taught and just always kind of like building things on my own. So I never worked for a company or a corporation doing it. I come from sales management. I manage sales teams. I was in the solar industry for a really long time. So I just have I come from a different place, you know, but I've just been coding a little bit since 2017. So it's fun. I would love to see one of those things, man. All right, cool. So a lot of people want to work on front end. I mean, we see the technologies, but for me, I feel like I guess you could choose a project based on the technology. We've always been, at least Aditya and I, we frequently talk about, you know, choosing the technology that lines up with the problem you're trying to solve. You have any thoughts on that, Patrick?
Oh yeah, 100%. Choose the technology that's best going to serve your purpose for sure. My thought on this is just like coming into this, you already have people with existing projects, and the interest in the project is kind of like icing on top of the cake for me. I'm more here to learn a specific technology and work with other people in the technology so I can be more proficient with the technology. And so that's what I'm really looking for more than anything else.
All right, so this is a little curveball because I'm not used to looking at it from that perspective. Most people come in like when I first started doing this a few weeks ago, I already have projects I want to work on, so I shared the project I wanted to work on, and then I open it up for other people to share projects they want to work on. Like breakout room number 1 and number 2 right now, that was just from asking people if they have anything they want to build. And so the teams are slowly growing, and there's even more people on each team that are here right now who work on the stuff with them. But these projects came from just asking people what projects they want to work on. But I'm interested. So what do you think would be a better approach for do you want to just see if instead of choosing a project and seeing if anyone's interested in working on that project with you, you go ahead and just share the technology that you want to use the most, see if anyone else is interested in learning that technology with you, and then you just don't look at it with the project focus, but the technology focus, but still building a project, obviously, but just leading with the technology. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can express what I came here for, but and you did a great job expressing what you were thinking. But I think at the end of the day, it's just like, what do the majority of the people who come here want? And so probably asking like everybody else, like, hey, do you come into this trying to learn a technology and improve the technology, or do you come into this thinking, hey, I want to work on a specific project?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody want to throw that in chat? Project focus or technology focus? I'm super curious now because I've heard like obviously I know mine, but hearing yours, Jim, it's really
yeah, I don't see why we can't do both, honestly. Like, if there's no one who ever brought up coming at it from the technology perspective, then it wouldn't have happened. But since there is, then let's just make it happen. If you want to come at it from the technology perspective, that's totally fine. And I look at it like the same way with the way we do the projects. You share your project idea, either people like it or they don't. If people don't like it, then it's not. I mean, it might get built if you build it by yourself, but you can't just come and say any project. You have to have a project that other people actually want to work on, that other people could get behind. If there's other people, you don't even have to put it in the chat. Go ahead and just unmute. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Me personally, I just want to get my hands dirty, I guess, because I don't really know what to expect. So I was hoping that this meetup would give me like a better understanding of what the real world might work like.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay, Hal, what do you think?
Hey, it's kind of like what you're saying. I mean, for the pair programming aspect of it, I think that the experience aspect of it is kind of what I'm there for. So it doesn't really matter what the technology is. As for myself, the technologies I'm using. Yeah, it would be nice to get better at those too. But I realize that if whatever job I get or whatever project I'm working on, I might have to use different technology, so I'm not too hung up on which technology it is. You know what? Yeah.
So you just want to code?
I just want to code.
Yeah, gotcha. Ian, thoughts? Or Lawrence?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I know it was a Docker because nobody uses it.
Oh yeah, I see. Docker is the main thing you want to work on.
Last night you were doing all Docker stuff.
Yeah, Ivan was working on some Docker stuff in his, and then Anton actually wrapped our project in a Docker container as well. We got the progress and the Alpine images. All right. So, Lawrence, did you want to chip in?
Yeah, I'm just interested in working on any technology. Just want to code. It'll always be useful learning a new language anyway. I am mostly like reversing Java, but that's mostly for backend. So like if anyone's working on React or Angular, I definitely be more inclined to try to help out and do my part.
Cool. So, yeah, so it sounds like most people just want to get their hands dirty and start coding. Patrick, do you want to go ahead and just the same way that we that some people choose a project, and if people are down to do that, then they work on that with you, and you want to just go ahead and choose a couple technologies that you want to start working on something with, and then see who wants to work on it with you?
I actually love your idea so much that I just want to work on helping you because I think like what you're building is helping people start pair programming and start working on projects is like an awesome idea. And then over time, I think a variety of technologies will kind of just will kind of flesh themselves out with different people adding in their different projects and different technologies, so people can kind of have that optionality to go into whichever one they want.
Cool. All right, so I'll go ahead and share. I will go ahead and just share this very quickly. For those who don't know how to look at my screen, you can see my name. It says live right next to it. Just go ahead and double click that, and my screen should pop up. And let's see. Let me pull up this real quick. So yeah, like you said, Patrick, I want to add all the projects right here to make it easier. You could see, you know, like you see the technologies that are involved, the tech stack. With this one here, we wanted to use Rust and Redis just to learn new technologies, kind of like what you're talking about. And then this one's using libPNP, which is just a different way of thinking about networks entirely, and not having a centralized location. So these are a couple different projects. Haven't even chosen the technologies for these other ones yet, but these are all projects I'm just really passionate about, that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm like, it's time to build them, you know. So I'll definitely continue building all of these and sharing them. And yeah, if anyone else has any projects they want to add to this, we could do that too. I think that'd be cool. But I'll go ahead and share. It's actually 8:38 already. Holy crap, that's wild. These events are going to go from 7 to 9. Normally I like to be to bed by 10. But I'll go ahead and share the code that we have so far. All right, so let me go ahead and just pull up the application. We had this built in a different way a couple days ago, and so let me just go back to the home page so everyone could see. Did have an error. So Anton went ahead and Ian, if you want to check this out, you could go ahead and check this out. This Docker setup that he did is so nice, man. Like, I've seen people do Docker setups before, but this one is just, it's really next level. So if you look at the README, you can see he adds all the information for getting involved on this project. These 3 steps right here, you just need Docker on your computer, and it doesn't matter what computer you're on, you're going to be able to run it. But you follow these instructions and it'll get set right up. You can see he has some development commands. I would just, if you really want to learn these, Ian, go ahead and, that was your name, yeah, Ian. I would even say just like take this whole README and ask questions to ChatGPT, like why is it important to write your README like this? Why is it important to have this many commands? What do these commands do? And just kind of break it down. It's really good at explaining things that aren't code. So this is some Docker stuff, and then if you want to look at the make file, which all the commands are built right into here, the Docker compose, so we have the repair app container and we have the database container, and same thing, just like what does the build command do, what is the volumes, what, just kind of like dig through this and start picking it apart one by one. And then he has also, there's another right here, so we have a development Docker file here where same thing, just dig through it a little bit and understand it. But it's pretty simple. You just run make init and the program should start on your computer. So this is all we have so far for the UI. It's a mobile repair. The perspective that I'm taking on this application is training repair technicians. So of course there are users, you know, customers who are getting things fixed. There's administrators or software engineers who are seeing it from that perspective. So we're going to have the admin dashboard. I have a really cool Google map where we have the zip code data coordinates mapped to the data map, and then we're filling in how many people are coming from different locations, just as like a business tool to make better business decisions. More so, I really just want to learn Google Maps, so I wanted to integrate it, and I think it's cool to have an admin dashboard as you're building the other perspectives as well. But anyways, before these next pages, so like this right here, was actually built into the form, and it was a select drop down, but we were like, it just went straight from the landing page to the form. So we were like, let's find a way to expand the SEO space, like pages that could actually be indexed by search engines. So I even want to have like a little information circle where we could click on that just to have a little bit more information on this page about each one of these devices. But you click one, brings you to the manufacturers. We're going to fill this out. This is just kind of like test. Click one of these. Brings you to the models. You choose a model, and then actually this is what I was working on before even the session started. So basically we have a form. There may be a better way of doing this, but we decided to create a context, and we have basically all the form information right here. We also have questions for the diagnosis. So depending on which device is selected, we're going to populate the questions that are being asked. We have 3 form states: diagnosis, scheduling, contact. Depending on which state the form is in, is going to determine which component is loaded. And then we have some functionality just to update the form. I just got this code in here, and I was working on updating the questions right now because it's nested. So within the form, we have 3 objects. And the diagnosis object has questions, which has an array, so it's different than all the other ones. So I was working on just getting this one to update properly. And then you can see the component that we render is based on this form state. And we have a form navigation, which is just controls the form state, essentially. I'll move that file. All right. And then the first state is diagnosis. So this is where we're actually populating the series of questions. Down here, we're taking the diagnosis object from the context. So we're taking this object here. We're targeting the questions, that array, and we're printing out one question for each question that exists on the diagnosis object. And then this is what I was working on. I don't even have this server action built yet. I believe we're just pulling it all from dummy data right now, just to make sure the functionality is all wired up correctly. So we still have to get questions. It's going to be based on the device. So I don't even have a series of questions, honestly, between like if it's a vacuum cleaner or a stove. There's going to be different questions depending, or like a washer and a dryer, there's going to be questions about, fluids or liquids, whereas with a vacuum cleaner there's not, unless it's a steam cleaner. So the questions that are actually populated on this form are dynamic based on the device for now, but eventually it's going to be based on the device, the make, and the actual model, because it could be a different model that does need an additional question or so. But we'll keep it simple for now. And then I haven't even tested this function, update questions, yet. I think it should work, but I'm probably going to have to make a couple changes. But after I get this diagnosis part done, we're going to go ahead and build out the schedule. And then we already have, this is done, I believe, for the most part, done and working. So, and same thing, dummy data. All right, what thoughts do you guys have on this? We have like a few minutes, so we could go ahead and try to fix this up. If someone wants to go ahead and wire up the schedule, because we have the actual inputs. We have a date input and a time input, but we don't have, this form is not updating. We actually haven't even created, if you look at the types, schedule form, we haven't even defined the type for the schedule form yet either. So I believe I don't know, are dates and times combined? I believe dates and times are combined with the data object. So I don't know if like splitting it apart is the best way to go, or keeping it together, or I don't really work with dates, but I have a lot of questions about that. So does anyone have any thoughts on this? Anything they want to work on specifically?
Is there something that you wanted to like get done first, or
Well, what's your level of experience? Let me ask, because if you're newer, then I could point out some other stuff too, just so you could actually like type some code.
I'm not really sure how to gauge my little experience.
Have you used HTML and CSS?
Yeah,
How long have you been using JavaScript for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, so you're pretty good with JavaScript then too, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So I guess a couple things. When I showed you the home page, or when I showed you these devices, so let me just fix this error so I don't have to keep restarting it. Can't resolve, serviceable sign up, form navigation. Form context, serviceable sign up. Where are we keeping this? Form context in the page, I believe. Yeah, so that's right. Page. Form context, export. Sign up components, form navigation, sign up components. Yeah. Okay, so it's actually just, that's not what it is anymore. Alright. So we're good. But let's see. So we have that path that I showed you from the home page, the landing page where it just said get repair. The first page, when you click get repair, is just mapping over the devices right here. And that's how we're navigating. You can see if you click on a device, you're navigating to the manufacturer path. So if you look at our paths, you're going to this route right here based on the device ID. So you're navigating here, which basically has your list of manufacturers, and click on the manufacturer, you're navigating to the page that has your list of models. So that's basically the step through process from the landing page to actually signing up. What I wanted to add for people who are newer, I know there was a couple people who said they were newer. If you look at the card, let me what the heck? Yeah, there might be something I have to tweak here. So basically what I wanted to add to these little cards, just give it 1 second to load. I could add these as well. I could add these as issues if people want to contribute later. Environment variables loaded. I don't think I changed anything. Yeah. I didn't change anything. That's strange. Is anyone here more familiar with Docker? I know Ian said he was familiar with Docker. Oh, not here anymore. Yeah, because I was going to say on these components here, which is a simpler task, we have the name of the device, but I wanted to have some sort of, not that, but I believe this is italic, but like a little information, the little information circle icon right here, where if you click on this, it's just a little bit more information. So if the device name is like a stove, it could even, I guess there's a couple different things that you could say that are relevant, like the types of stoves that are being repaired, for example. Whether it's an electric stove or a gas stove, like we fix gas stoves and electric stoves, or these are the types of stoves we fix, and the types of stoves, just to add a little bit more information. I don't know how valuable it'll be, but I think the more information we could give on the server side rendered pages, the better. So that's pretty simple, because that's just a little eye icon. You click on it and a little info space opens up with like a little bit more information. But there's probably other things we could do as well to increase SEO. I think this is just a cool little thing for now for the people who are newer to work on. Thoughts, comments, suggestions?
Is that like data actually like you're like mapping it the data from somewhere? Is that data actually like in the location that other data is from? Or do you just want like some like dummy tooltip just to show what it looks like?
Can't reach database server. It should be waiting. Running. Server stopped. Alright, well I'm gonna have to fix this setup because this can't be crashing every single time we get an error, so we just need to I guess be more cognizant of building it in a way that errors are handled and we're not getting those errors. I mean, at least that they're coming up less frequently. I know this is just the first time, but I don't want it to happen again. Yeah, so this data here, the way like I said in the beginning of the session, I kind of just build from my imagination, and then as I build it, it helps me decide what data I actually need to store in the backend. So as far as this information circle, the way I would do it is having dummy data, and then I see exactly the data that I need. For example, with this, where I'm getting the devices, where I'm populating the UI with the devices, with the manufacturers, with the models. You're just getting the models by manufacturer. You can see get models by manufacturer. But the data that we're pulling in is coming from type, actually from the data. And this is just dummy data, you know? So I have some dummy devices with the bare minimum. I know that I need to build a database with these things stored that have at least a device ID and a device name. And as I build out the application more, I'm going to realize that there's going to be other fields that need to be added to this thing. But if you want to go ahead and build it into the database and have it stored in a location and do the database planning before actually pulling it into the UI and loading it up, that's totally fine too. That's just a different way of approaching the problem, right? That works too. They both work. Have you done that before, Yash?
Using a database?
Yeah, like, have you primarily used dummy data and then built the data stores on the back end, or have you started from the back and worked your way to the front?
Usually just use dummy on the front. I only used like database like twice.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right.
Quick
Well,
question, Jim.
yeah.
So you mentioned using a database. Why are you wanting to go the database route with us?
Why do I want to go the database route? Because
Yeah, exactly,
because
yeah.
we have customer information we need stored.
It sounds like you're talking about like sorry, maybe I should ask the question differently. It sounds like you're looking at like a SQL database. Is that what you're talking about?
Initially, we set up with initially we set up with SQLite database, but we decided to switch over to PostgreSQL because we want to isolate the database from the Next.js application. We don't want to store customer information on the same server that we're storing customer information.
Gotcha. So, I just curiosity, why are you going with a database approach instead of just like something like super fast for prototyping, like NoSQL or something like that, just to get it up and running with a backend that you can pull data from?
We have a database set up that you could pull data from. We just have to add.
Oh, okay. You just haven't connected the two yet?
Yeah, we just have to add the data.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because if you look at, we had the SQLite database set up and it was good and it was working and it was ready to go, but we made the decision to Dockerize the Next.js application so that it was easier for people to contribute on. So regardless of which environment they're working on, that all they need is Docker, not all these other dependencies, and they could just run. It's supposed to be able to just run make and init, and that's supposed to, well, you run make and init one time and then you get it up and running. So it's supposed to be simple. I gotta figure out how to use it. I'm newer with Docker, but we wanted to containerize it to make development easier and contributions easier. And then we decided that while we were containerizing the Next.js application, since he was already putting some time into building this Docker container, that he was gonna create a Postgres Docker container as well, so we could just isolate that. And then if you look at, I believe every developer is going to have a database, like the data actually stored on their local. So everybody's going to have their own database information, the data stored to their local, and yeah, so there's not going to be any data actually stored. But as far as like development goes, each developer is gonna have, you know, the data just stored on their own computer. So I'm still figuring all this stuff out though. I believe you only have to run a knit one time. And then Docker build, Docker up. And then you should be able to just run Docker up or make up. Maybe that's what I was doing wrong. No. All right, so it's up and running. Yeah, running. They're both good. Yeah, okay. Did I answer your question though? Okay, cool. Yeah. So, okay, we're up and running. Yeah. So you got the little eye circle or whatever with a little bit of extra information. Cool. But it is already 9:04. These things are scheduled from 7 to 9. Normally we're doing more coding than this. We didn't do any coding tonight. Holy moly.
Lots of thinking.
I know. Seriously, no. Well, Patrick brought up some really good points that I wasn't even prepared for because I look at it from the perspective of I just have so many projects that I want to build that I could only see it from the project perspective. As far as like which technologies I'm trying to learn, I kind of look at it from the perspective of what's the project, what's the problem, and then we'll select one. But he brought up a really good point. Like, there's probably people who come here who just want to learn React. Like, that's why they're here. They're here to learn React. Or there's probably some people who want to come and they want to learn Ruby. You know, like, some people just want to learn a language. They don't care what the project is. So looking at it from that point of view was a different perspective, but a really good perspective, because it also makes me think if I'm looking at it from the project perspective and Patrick is looking at it from the technology perspective, those aren't the only two perspectives. So I'm curious now, what are the other perspectives that people will be coming from, you know? And
so like for me, you know, I'm like sort of new, and I just wanted to have a network, get involved, learn as much as I could, as quickly as I could, have a support system, kind of be a little bit more accountable, and just like, you know, I want to learn it because I just think it's fucking awesome. And I want to know how it works. And that part to me is cool enough by itself. Not really caring right now about what the project is. Just for me and my little tiny bit of experience, I just want to do everything and learn whatever I can. So whatever, I mean, I try to just stick to learning a couple of languages because it's like a lot. But everything is interesting. So I would in the future not be opposed to doing something I haven't ever done before. Like he was talking about F#. I don't know anything about F#, but it looked interesting. yeah,
and you have someone right there who knows it.
Right.
You know? Yeah, but the thing is too about you, Anna, is you're very active and you're very verbal and you're a great communicator. You're always talking, you're asking questions, you're chipping in, you're giving suggestions, and that's what I would love to see. I would love to see everybody doing that. Like Patrick asking these questions and making these points tonight. That's beautiful. I wish we had more of that. I hope that it comes to the point where everybody just feels comfortable talking and politicking, and people are like, we have to break out to different rooms. You know, like there's no way everybody could just break out. Like as we're filling it up in the beginning, it's like, all right, you guys have your conversation, drop down a breakout room and do your thing. You know, I don't want to have to like give direction or ask questions or lead or any of that. I just want to code and work with people. That's it. I don't want to like lead this thing. I want to have a good time with you guys, you know.
It's really nice to be in a room with several people that kind of know like which way is up, you know.
Yeah.
It like, I think people that are interested in code, they think about things maybe a little differently or more thoroughly or whatever it is. And it's nice that to be in a group with like people that kind of think along those same lines, as opposed to like I don't know, general public. I don't want to say dumb or like just like I appreciate the like level of thought.
Yeah, yeah, like regular people, not like regular people, just people who are focused on other things
Other
besides
people are good
coding.
at other things.
Yeah, they're
Right,
they're
right.
focused on other
Right.
things. Yeah, yeah.
But not
You
only
know-
that, but I moved a lot, and like I don't really have like a lot of like people that I would like call to like hang out with or stuff. So it's been cool to like have a little like meeting place to talk with like-minded people. So like for me, I have a lot of time at the current moment, so I'm trying really hard to invest.
Yeah, yeah, I could dig that. Have you ever tried talking about coding or programming or any of this stuff with people who don't do it?
I have this
It's so hard.
I have an internal pre-frustration. Like I don't even want to start. Like I tried to explain something I was trying to do yesterday to my boyfriend, and I was like, well, I don't know if you would understand. And then I waited. There was like an awkward silence, and then I like told him what I was doing, and he like wasn't even like he was on some other planet by the end of it. So
Yeah, yeah. I try to explain
like,
things.
What are you doing for all of these hours? You know, and I try to explain it to him. Like to them, it's just like I'm sitting in front of the computer doing what?
Yeah.
You have no idea.
You see their eyes gloss
I'm
over
lucky if
really
I
quick.
can get anything like science, math, technology related at all discussion wise out, let alone coding. Like that's never going to happen with anyone I know.
I know.
At least in,
And
like,
there's
you know.
not too many like groups that are like open-ended and flexible and like very relaxed. Like this was a good find for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for coming. You know, it's all you guys who make it what it is. If you guys didn't come, then I'll just be sitting here by myself coding, you know? So like I normally do.
I have better coding conversations with my rubber duck than I do with my wife.
You have to tell metaphors. You can't like use the technical language. You have to say it in metaphors. Like, you know how on the coffee maker there's buttons and you could click these buttons? Like, you literally have to talk about a real world object that they interact with every day. You can't start talking about. So if you on-click the input element, they're like, just stop.
Actually, I have a quick question to kind of ask the group on something that I was trying to figure out yesterday. So I'm learning Python currently, and I built something, and this might sound stupid, but I was trying to get it to display in the web browser. So I was looking at like what are the ways, and then I ended up coming across like Flask, and then that didn't work because Flask doesn't take like inputs or whatever. So is there like a way, is there like a pipeline or some way of making it work in the browser so that like people could play it on the web?
Flask doesn't take Flask should take inputs. It doesn't take inputs.
It said something about, I don't know if it was inputs or nested inputs. It was text. It was like text inputs. I don't know. I was reading it yesterday. I spent like multiple hours on it. You can ask John. I was frustrated, and so I had to do something else today. But I would probably look at it again, and I think it would be cool to figure out. So I don't know if anybody has any.
How are you learning it?
So at the moment, right now it's the 100 Days of Python Udemy. That was actually recommended to me by yeah, John actually recommended it to me. And so far,
I'm doing that too.
You did that too?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
So I can say after spending several months on trying to figure out React and JavaScript and stuff, and then before that CSS and HTML, I'm looking at Python and I'm like, this is like not hard. At least what I've covered so far, which is almost nothing. So far it's just been like syntax, but everything else is like the same thinking and stuff. I'm like, this isn't bad.
Yeah, I turned around to Angela use 100 Days of Boot Camp with Python just because I'm on day 35 of it, and I've gotten a lot out of it. It's shown me a lot. Trying to use Coursera and trying to go to the Python docs and libs before compared to her, the way she explains stuff and everything, she just does a great job in that course.
Angela. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on day 33 with it.
Oh,
She
nice.
does a really good
Right
job.
about where I'm at. I'm day
Oh, you
30.
guys are in the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on the APIs right now.
Yeah.
So I did the 7-day free trial thing. I'm still in that, and I was like, I'm gonna try to do as much as I can as fast as possible to see if I can like get close to the end. But I don't think that's gonna happen because I get so sidetracked, and then I have to go on little side missions, and 1 hour is like 5, and I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Replit has a free version you can do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's also called 100 Days of Code, but it's Python as well, but it's Replit, and it's free.
Okay.
Replits. Oh, that'd be cool.
It's not as I kind of do it on the side. It's not as in depth as Angela gets, but it's pretty good.
I have I'll share something with you. There's this, so just a couple things, and I think this is language agnostic. I think it's called Build Your Own X. Yeah, so if you're trying to really get good at Python, if you come in here, let me go ahead and post this to the Discord chat. You'll like this. So, because I still do tutorials too. The video tutorials I kind of like just eyes gloss over. I'm not really engaged with the tutorials. But if you come here to Build Your Own X, it has tutorials they're really good. And they have all different languages. So like you could build your own 3D renderer. Here's how to do it in Python. You could build your own augmented reality. Here's how to do it in Python. Build your own blockchain cryptocurrency. Do it in Python. So you start seeing how to use Python from different perspectives, building different tools. Like you could build a bot in Python. I think there's actually a Discord bot in Python that's really cool. No, that was Node.js. Yeah, this one's super cool. Yeah, so you come in here and you could see all the ones that are written and build your own database in Python. So you could learn. You'll just be so much better with databases if you build a database in Python. So like build your own miniature Redis. I would say every time you encounter a word where you're like Redis, what's that? I would say. I'll go to ChatGPT and give me a comprehensive analysis and summary of Redis. Just tell me what it is, and then I'd also go to the Redis documentation, and then I would. Oh, wrong word.
Redis is essentially key value pair.
Yeah.
I've been put in just in one data structure, one table, like one area, but just key value replicated.
Yeah.
I've had to put a Redis server because Redis servers are good if you're doing small scale, like small scale data. Great for small scale data.
But yeah, anytime you encounter a word that you don't recognize, go ahead, ChatGPT it, ask for a complete analysis, visit their documentation. Just have like a basic understanding. Don't master it, but like now when you write your own miniature Redis, you at least know what Redis was designed to do and what you're doing here. And then just, these tutorials, I feel like these tutorials are way better than the Udemy ones because they actually build the habit of reading. And I think one of the most important things to do, and I think one of the things that I see new programmers taking the longest to move from video tutorials and YouTube videos to reading documentation, which I found the most experienced people I know who've been in the game for 20, 30 years, they go straight to documentation,
I'll agree with you there. Yeah, documentation is probably the most important part of any.
I actually prefer the documentation a lot of the time because I often have to like go back like 5 times and reread like, okay, what the hell? So it's nice to just have like a solid thing and see how it's laid out.
That's why reading it with a project like this, like having like simple breakdowns of how to do things in Python, but then you're actually building a real project too. And as you're building the project, you're also ChatGPT like, what is this package. What is this doing? That way, when you're using it, you know what it's capable of down in the program, you know? And then, yeah, there's just a ton of different projects to choose from this list. You could build tons of different things. A front-end library, a game, Git. It really helps you understand just computer science in general, doing these tutorials and these projects. Every single one is a project with, like, built-in documentation where they're describing things in thorough detail.
It's
So
awesome.
and then I'd
I have
say
it starred.
Python has beginner tutorials in their documentation, and same with Flask. Flask has a mini application too. But same thing, just documentation. So I'll go ahead. You probably already have access to the documentation if you're taking. You said Angela's class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's good. So I'll post those. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if you're trying to get more out of that 7-day trial and you don't want to pay for it, a lot of libraries actually offer Udemy for free. At least here in New York City and like bigger cities. So you can just like, as long as you have a library card, you just log in from your library's website and get Udemy for free.
Wow.
I'd probably rather just pay the $20 and stay at home. But
No, you get to stay at home. You just log in.
You log into your library.
From your
Oh,
library
I did not
Yeah,
know
look
that. That is
that up.
definitely useful. For sure.
Yeah.
I have a. Do you guys all have a dev account?
Oh, what?
A dev account?
For Udemy?
No, dev is a platform for programmers to share, like, blog style stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to share this with you guys. They do these challenges and you can get actual money. This is the current one right now.
Yep.
That would probably be good for some more experienced people. I don't really know too much about the APIs and stuff, but like they had a CSS one not too long ago, and some girl did like a banana, and I was like, damn, I should have entered that. Like it would have been, I probably could have stood a chance. But I just wanted to share it. There's some good information on there. You can
Cool.
like search stuff and yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, it's like 9:20 right now, so what I'm gonna do is drop down to breakout room number 1 and surprise these guys. I want to see the progress that they made tonight. I want to see their code. So anyone who is going to pop off, I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those who also want to see their code, feel free to just follow me into breakout room number 1.
I think me and John are gonna hop back into 2.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, I meant to ask, how's it going? How's the shopping cart going?
Well, I managed to here. I mean, can I share my screen?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay.
So
nice.
this is it is still in need of work, but I found the old CSS file from before we transferred everything over, and then I was able to link it. So it saves a little bit of time, but now we have something to work with.
I like it. I love apps that look like this because you're just adding like really, really basic style and design, and seeing them evolve over time is the best thing because you see it like this. And like, did you ever see like the first HTML page or like Facebook when it first released? Like it looks so. It's just like, yeah, it's like this right here, you know? And it evolves over time and you make like tiny tweaks, just iterating and making it better and better and better. I love that evolution. You should document it. You should take like screenshots and just so like once a week you can see how it evolved over time. That's cool.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I like it. Is there any
Thanks.
functionality built into it yet?
Well, I mean, like you can click profile. Can you still see my screen?
Uh-huh.
Is it changing?
Yeah.
This is it. This is all it. Like it's ready to have stuff put in, but that's about as far as we got. And I don't know if you've seen any of our goings-ons here. We're working on it.
The what?
the styling here of some of the components. Can you see this still?
Yeah, the green navigation.
Yeah, these can you see my editor?
No, it's not showing up. We just see
Okay,
black.
okay. Okay. Strange. 1 second. That's why you guys don't know what I'm doing.
I believe you shared your screen. You shared it by application. So when you first click share your screen, you get this modal that pops up that says applications or screens. If you choose screen, you probably just selected application, so it's only showing us one application.
I've got the screen. I've got the.
Oh, there you go.
Screen up
Yep,
now.
yep.
Okay. Okay, so we've got all these components here. These still need work, but like so for the home page, those are all linked together. What's really going to be interesting is I think it's going to be this. John has something really cool that we're going to try to implement some cards for the layout that he built, which is cool. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of front end work to be done on this one, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
This is the
Have you guys talked about that back end at all?
We've gotten like the database design down.
Oh yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah.
most part when it comes to Anton, and I've gotten it to pretty much where we've got to get a schema to create databases whenever each database or each time a card gets generated. So basically, when a card gets generated, database will get generated along with the user admin in that cart, along with any products that they want to upload to that cart at that point as well. That's kind of the flow of the back end.
Gotcha.
Besides that, we need to do some users on the user generation on the back end and product generation.
How did you generate this application? Next or React?
Next. Yeah.
Next with JavaScript. Okay, gotcha. Cool, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so with Next, this is the back end. Well, technically, right? It is a server-side React.
Server components and client components, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Primary use server. I like the way they do it though.
Yeah, I love it. I love it for like starting a project. Yeah, it's nice to get a project started really fast. But it's also a great front end tool. I love it. Nice though. Nice. Cool. So
I'm gonna end the live stream.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. All right. So, all right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if you guys wanted to add that to the page of the site I'm building too. I don't even know like if I should have some sort of like requirements for projects just so like everything isn't getting thrown on there, like having like projects have to meet a certain something. Otherwise they'll just be like 500 to do applications and I don't know. I need to think about it, but
meet a certain what?
What do you mean?
Like a certain like so you don't want to have so many projects going at once?
No. I'm cool with a lot of projects going at once as long as, you know, if you're working on one project, you can handle that one project, that's totally fine. I'll do as much as I can handle for sure. I don't mind multiple projects going on at once. I just mean like posting, because everybody's working on stuff, right? Like Breakout Room 1 is working on their project right now. You guys are working on your project right now. I have projects I'm working on. There are other projects going on as well with other people who just aren't here tonight. So I'm like, I built this site yesterday to basically share all the projects. So I don't know. I'm just thinking like, because I don't want there to be just like, because there are eventually going to be newer people, like newer than anyone who's here right now, who are just building like an HTML and CSS like product card, like something simple just for practice, and that's not going to be added to the site. That's used to like impress employers for people trying to get jobs and that sort of thing. So I just wondered like where's the line? Like what are we adding and what are we not adding? But I'll give that more thought.
Maybe you could have like a project proposal of sorts.
Oh, that sounds too official for me.
Okay.
What about? It sounds like you just want to make sure that everything is active, right? Like, I think as long as something's active, it's providing value to people because people are pair programming and learning from each other. And so what comes to mind, Jim, is one of the things that you mentioned earlier, connecting it to GitHub. As long as there's GitHub activity, like pull requests are being merged or issues are being closed, that seems like a pretty good bar to me.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. True, because if they're connected to GitHub, they're working on a team, they're collaborating, other contributors are forking the project, they're all making commits, like that's enough to bring into an interview and look good for whoever's trying to show their project.
So are you
For
talking
sure.
about having? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, and it's enough to, I think, showcase on the site that you're creating too, because it's something that people are already getting value from. So it's something that additional people will get value from too.
True. By building, you're saying?
Just by like working on it with the other people, because like ultimately that page that you're building is for people to kind of discover what other projects people are working on, so they can see like, oh, I want to join that one, right?
True. Whether it's a beginner project or a more advanced one.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe that's something that you can like have like tags for like beginner, intermediate, advanced, that sort of thing.
Yeah, true. That makes a lot of sense.
So,
So people could
I'm
filter
not
based
sure.
on their level of experience.
I'm not sure if this would be easy or not, but like if a project goes inactive, like if there's no activity for like 60 or 90 days, or you could choose a time frame, could you have like a snooze button and hide the app or hide the project from the app?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could just make API requests to GitHub, and there's got to be a field on one of their objects where you could see when's the last time someone made a commit on the project, and then just not include any projects that haven't had a commit made to them within a certain amount of time. Yeah, true. I really like that because that naturally weeds out the beginner projects that people aren't working on anymore, and then the larger
If there was
projects
a
that
way
are
to
still
have it
going
like
on.
do automatically, that would be good, and then you wouldn't have to think about it.
Yeah, you definitely can. I just have to figure out which property that is, and then you just filter through the projects in your organization based on last
Oh.
commit. There's got to be something.
The other thing that I almost forgot was I don't remember if I saw this on your app when you had it pulled up, but you have like a place for questions and answers.
Yeah, so that's the application that is that's the repair application.
That's the repair application.
Yeah. So the questions on the form, that's the customer facing UI. So the customer selects
No.
what you said
Okay,
questions.
I didn't ask the right question. So like we're all in a group together in this O1 software network.
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah.
there a place where we can ask to the public of O1 software network questions to other developers on a problem that we're having trouble figuring out, like my question earlier with the Python and the web server?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just above, we're all in the co-working space right now. If you look
Mhm.
up, there's an ask for help channel. And there's also a general channel, so you could have like just conversations about anything in general, and then if it's language specific or problem specific, you could definitely ask for help in there.
I haven't used that. I was more so talking about the app that you're building.
Oh, you're confusing
Or
me.
what? Or is that? Yeah, I'm sorry. Or is that just for projects? The app that you're building.
The one that I showed you in the beginning that just had like the list of
Yeah, it was
projects.
like white. It was like mostly white with some squares.
Let me just pull it up so I know which.
Sorry.
Nah, you're good. Just end up with like 30 tabs by the end of the night. This one here, right? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, sorry.
I was waiting for it.
This one here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one.
All right, so is
So-
there a place to ask questions here?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't even thought about that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's a feature. The main thing is I wanted to have like a centralized local place that people could go that's public. That not only
Gotcha,
could be shared
okay.
between like people who are actually trying to develop right now or people who have been in the industry for a while, but also like my own friends and family, you know, because I want to share the stuff I'm working on with the people I know, you know.
Okay.
So this will give me the opportunity to do that, and I think it'll just be a really good place for other engineers. Like when Ivan wants to add the Momentum project, the Airbnb one here, so it'll be a nice centralized location where everybody could access their project, and I can not only share my projects, but if that app actually does become something, I could just share the application he's working on with people I know. Like, hey, there's someone I know building a really cool travel application. It does this and this, and you could pull it up, the live version once it's deployed, and show people it. You know, like, I don't know. I think it'll just be nice to have this. Nowhere to ask questions yet. Right now, this is going to the GitHub, but I just added that so it goes somewhere. Eventually, I would like to, instead of join project, you'll actually go to a project page with a little bit more information, probably information pulled from GitHub, and then see options like see the live version of this application, check out the GitHub for this application, just a place that's user friendly regardless of whether you're an engineer or
How are you planning on like organizing the projects in there? Like if you have like 25 of them or 50 of them or whatever, let's say the group grows in size, are you gonna just have them all in a row like they are, or is it gonna be like kind of organized by like maybe programming language or focus or something like that?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't even know how many different apps will be on here. You know, like I'm only thinking about, I don't know, because look at our group right now. You know,
So
you
like
you
if,
guys are
I'm
working
a
on.
newbie developer and I want to learn React and there's a project that's React, I'm gonna be interested in that one.
Yeah, so if you see, so if there's, when more beginner projects show up here under Are You a Beginner? Yeah, so right now, I guess it's just classified between beginners and people with experience. And then, yeah, if this is using React and this is in the beginner section, you'll know this is the project for you.
Or maybe you could put like little, you know how GitHub has like, it says what it is with a little dot, like a colored dot. Like you can make your own version of that and it would be like, this is based mostly on this and this and this or whatever, and have just it like that on every little card. That might be cool.
Hold on, say that one more time.
So, okay, O1 Software Network. So if you scroll down to like one of your projects that you're working on, so your repair. So like, what are you programming in that one? Is that React?
Yeah, so we have React, Node, Next.js, TypeScript.
Oh, so you've
Postgres.
already kind of got it there, sort of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even really look at that.
Yeah, and then you can see like Myriad, Rust, Redis, Node, TypeScript. So this one we've selected the technologies for it, but I guess
That probably looks better than my idea having the icons.
well, these are the icons. What do you mean?
Well, I was like, if you like made your own like simpler version.
Oh, you were thinking of it in a more elaborate way or something?
I wouldn't say elaborate, but maybe more work would be elaborate.
Yeah, like, I don't want to. I want to do as little work as possible and make the most impact with the smallest amount of code.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know
I
if that's a
mean,
good
what?
thing, but
No, that looks fine. I honestly, I was looking at the bigger card as a whole. I didn't even like look at the detailed parts.
oh, gotcha.
So I think you made a really good point though, Anna, when you're talking about when you're a beginner and you want to come and learn React. Like that's exactly how I was thinking about it too. Like I want to come and I want to work on a project with people who are also, knowledgeable on this project. So I think when there are more projects here, if that does happen, maybe a good idea is having like a filter at the top. So like a filter for experience level, like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and a filter for technology you want to learn. And then you can just see all of the projects that meet those filters and just jump in.
Ooh, yeah, that's great. Then you can say, oh, we have one that has to do with books and one that has to do with festivals. Oh, well, I like the festivals one better.
you could
Or whatever.
filter it by topic or technology. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess the sky's the limit, right? I just coded this I coded up in like a couple of hours, and I was like, let me just get something I could just deploy as like a version 1, and I'll deploy it, show it to some people, test it out myself, get some feedback, and then in that next couple of weeks I'll decide like what's the next smallest thing I could add that's going to make the most impact. So
Yeah, I really like it, and I think it'll be useful. This will be like an app on a phone, right?
Yeah, but I've only designed the styles for mobile right now, which I'm sure if there's someone who has design skills, I don't like the design side of things. I know I really should just get good at it, but if someone's interested in, work on this, I'm totally open to that. I just want to focus on functionality, and I think next we'll be connecting to GitHub so we can get the real data about the projects, but I don't know. We'll see.
If we get our microcart looking somewhat okay, maybe I can help with that.
The styles?
Yeah, just the styling.
Yeah. I don't even know how.
I'd love to. Oh, I was just gonna say I'd love to help work on this too, just because I actually thought that was what we were gonna work on today with you. I didn't realize we were gonna work on the repair app, and so I was ready to like jump into this one to start banging out some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what would you do next? You just design, make it look better, because it's so simple and bland right now.
It's
No,
a
I
little
feel like
simple and bland, but it's laid out very well.
yeah, I think like what you said makes sense. Work on the next most important thing. I don't think design is the biggest issue at the moment. I think
Just a
just
little
getting
tweak,
people to where they want to be is the next step. So just figure out what are people coming here for, figure out those customer requirements, and then tailor it to that. Like maybe building out the project page is the next most important thing. I think it's kind of hard to say though without really knowing for sure what people are really coming for.
Yeah, I like your business perspective. It's so hard for me to look at it like that because, all right, so this here, are you a beginner? I've been working on this application here for like the last 3 months. So this right here, I look at this as the bridge that brings someone who never typed a line of code in their life to contributing on open source. So that's what I'm building here. This is just a personal project. I'm working on it independently. I plan to continue working on it independently, and that's what I want to build. I think that doesn't exist right now. I think that's a major problem, and I want to solve it. That's my passion project, and it's also a profitable venture for me. All this other stuff, these are also just ideas I have that I think are gonna be good ideas. Like repair, my main focus is helping someone who's never fixed something in their life move from fixing simple things like vacuum cleaners and things that only have a small number of parts to fixing computers and tablets and more complicated electronics. But helping people grow as professionals. If I'm not even thinking about the users, the customers who are getting things fixed, I'm thinking about the software engineers because I am one and I'm working with them. But my main thing is create this path for people to grow as professionals and like run their own businesses. If it makes money, I don't even care. Like that, it's not even my focus. My focus is this bridge, and this is the thing I want to monetize. All this other stuff, like if someone steps up and takes ownership of these open source projects and they want to run it, I don't care, man. Do what you want. I'll still support it. I'll still code. I'll still be a part of it. But I would love for people to take ownership of these projects and run with it. I don't want anything from them. This Myriad here, the automated booking system, I would love to build like business infrastructure around it as well. Like I have a huge plan for this application, but I'm just focused on the education platform.
That's the event booking, right?
The event booking system. Yeah, so if people want to, I hope eventually people just take ownerships of these projects. I don't want them. I just want to build the bridge from someone who's never typed a line of code in their life to working on projects like this, you know? And hopefully we get more projects like this that could actually be turned into real solutions, real applications that are solving real world problems. So that was like my whole plan for this, was like, build the bridge from never typing a line of code in your life to open source projects that are real projects that are solving real problems, that are profitable, create jobs for software engineers with these projects potentially once they become profitable, and open up the community to other people who have good projects that are also solving real world problems and benefiting the entire community by creating jobs and solving real world problems. But as far as like yeah, so adding easy projects to this, or like beginner friendly projects, that didn't even cross my mind. So that's like a new thought that now I'm like, is that actually a good idea? Is that complementary? How does that affect everything else that I'm thinking? It might be beneficial, but it might be a distraction. But yeah, I'm building a lot of stuff right now that is going to be very beneficial for new people too. But you have to work on projects. That's the main thing. You have to get to these open source projects, real world projects. The sooner you could get to real world projects, things that are like production ready, you're going to be able to get the jobs sooner. Most people are looking for jobs, right? So I want to help people get jobs.
How many projects do you have going on right now?
So right now we have, I have.
No, just like in your plethora of things that you're working on, like for yourself or whatever, like in everything that you're doing, like how many would you say
that
you're working on?
That I'm coding on every day? 3.
Yeah.
3.
3? Okay.
Yeah, but mostly the main one. Yeah. But yeah, that's that. So we'll I'm interested in seeing all the projects that are being built. Honestly, if you guys if you're more interested in actually working on this here than working on the repair, that's fine. I more so like, I want to see people building projects. I want to see people who are passionate. I don't want to be the only one who's like, hey, let's build my projects. You know, like, I want to see people getting behind projects that they're passionate about and building things with a team that they formed and that they're working with and leading and that sort of thing, you know? So the more of that, the better. If I'm sitting here every night coding by myself, actually, I want to code with some people. But even if I'm only coding with 2 or 3 people every single night, and there's 10 other groups broken out, all working on their own project, building real stuff with real teams, and like,
that's a lot.
that'll make me so happy. The more people actually working on teams and networking and all that stuff, man, that's so cool to see. That makes me so happy to see that, you know?
So like me and John and Nate, after we started on this microcart, like the next day we were all up working on it like pretty late, especially John and Nate. So like, you know, outside of this meeting. So that's cool. Just said fuck it and sat around and kept coding.
How many hours straight?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
We're
Yeah.
up till about 3 a.m.
Wow. Wow. I think we started the session at 9 that day, right?
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
little later.
I like full nights of coding though.
Wow. Yeah.
I had to go
Another
to bed
grind.
because I had my kid. I was like, I gotta go. I wish I could be up with you guys. And he's like, we stayed up till like 3 or 4. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. I'm glad I went to bed.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to see the shopping cart evolve. Cool.
Yes.
Anton's super helpful, man. I love having
Mhm.
conversations with him. He's so smart.
Oh yeah, he's got database design down to a T. I think he's really good with relational databases.
Oh, so much, man. I was using switch cases in my React components, and he showed me how to use maps instead with enums. I was like,
Mapping's
man,
so fun.
it seriously took like 100 lines of code and turned it into like 8. And I was like, damn, that's so nice.
Oh yeah, I remember. I used to use switch case statements all the time too.
Yeah.
I found
He's like,
dot
if you
map.
have to use the switch statement, just know something is wrong. He's like, something is wrong with your code. He's like, you have to solve that. That's a problem. So just, I never even thought about it like that. Just looking at it like a switch statement is a problem, and you just haven't thought about your code enough to actually create a better solution. I'm like, damn, nice, dude. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that in mind as I go forward.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be use cases for them though. Like there's got to be situations where they would be more beneficial. I'm curious about that now. Let me jot that down so I don't forget.
Are you using TypeScript, Jim?
Yes.
Cool.
I think I'm newer to TypeScript though, because there was a period where I just used TypeScript. The configuration was not strict, so I could get away with not using TypeScript, and then I slowly started adding in configuration that required me to kind of learn it slowly. Where you know how like when you learn Spanish, you're like, "Hola, ¿cómo are you?" Like you're half English, half Spanish. Like some words you just don't know, so you fill it in with an English word. That's how I was with TypeScript.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey.
And
It's
yeah,
good though,
so
'cause
slow.
it locks things in places and components and allows you to be more strict on the component itself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're defining everything, it's just so much clearer what you're actually writing to what you're doing, you know? It's nice. I like it.
And it allows writing unit tests a lot easier too.
But honestly,
All elements.
I want to integrate some unit tests. I just don't want to slow things down. I was thinking about using unit tests as like documentation. So like write the unit tests and then create an issue for the unit test that I wrote just to give like more clear direction for the people who are contributing, like making it easier for them. But we'll see. I just don't want to slow things down.
Understand that. You may want to think about doing like a unit test for whenever something's inserted, like whenever you insert a project into the tables or into the whatever data design you're using, something that will catch if the data is incorrect or not.
Yeah, just some checks. I mean, I want to take it seriously, you know, because even though a lot of us are self-taught, it's like I still look at it like, yeah, we're building software, but I still look at it like we're building a bridge. Like if you're a civil engineer and you're designing and building a bridge, you can't take any shortcuts. You have to come up with a high quality plan and you have to build a high quality product because you can't risk that shit collapsing. You know, like I'm using a metaphor right now, but why would you not just want to build at a high quality? I think the only thing that stops you is time, you know, but eventually we all get to that point where we're just writing the best high quality software all the time. You're coming from that perspective that software
Jim,
should
like,
have
coming
tests.
from the perspective of like being in a business and actually developing for a business on that kind of line, I've learned that if you put more time into the core, you'll spend less time on the actual features and all that stuff because of how the core's built. So you save time in the long run of things. It takes more time to build that core, but you'll save time doing everything else.
Yeah, Yeah. Do you write unit tests at work?
Used to, well, I used to be a PHP developer. Used to use Laravel primarily, Laravel and CodeIgniter. Those were the two prime frameworks I used. And I'm more of like on the earlier end of programming, and so I did more of an MVC control system within Laravel, and did how eventually I was talking about the ORM. They used Eloquent within Laravel for their ORM, their object relational model.
Mm.
So we would build model structures and then do controller structures and build RESTful APIs to handle a lot of the data that was going in and out.
Mm. Gotcha. Yeah, because I'm looking into testing now. It's like some teams do, some don't. Some teams have other teams writing the testing software. So I'm just like looking into it a little bit right now.
For the longest time, I didn't do unit testing. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like writing, like you could even, I think, with ChatGPT, have it write a unit test for you.
Yeah.
Giving it a method, and it will write that unit test for you. You can just compile that into the code, and then only run that like whenever you're ready to compile or go live or like push or something like that. Have it just run that unit test just to check and make sure everything's going through okay, or if something inserts, have it hit that unit test beforehand, so that way you can throw an error in case some type of raw data is going through.
Yeah. True. Patrick, do you guys do unit tests? You said you work for a startup, right?
Yeah, that's right. We don't do any tests of anything at all for prototypes because we don't care if it breaks. It's just a prototype. We do a lot of prototyping. But I actually argue that you shouldn't write any tests at all until you have product market fit in a startup. So that's when you know that the core audience that you're building for likes your product, and it's something that's not going to change significantly. Then I think it's once it's a little bit more mature like that, then it's time to start investing in tests and building out the product so that you're running down that technical debt and those sorts of investments.
Agree. Do yours? You said you were so you work for a startup. Do they use Scrum Agile environment?
Yeah, we use Agile.
Nice. So Scrum environment too, like the sprints and everything.
Yeah, we use sprints. It's like kind of modified to get rid of a lot of the boilerplate stuff that takes up a lot of time because it's a startup and we don't have time for stuff that doesn't provide value.
Exactly.
So it's a modified Scrum.
Yeah, and I totally get that. One of the companies that I worked for back in Cookville, when we were doing like the smart docs sort of situation with Anthem, it was only about 7 developers, so we definitely condensed it down and made it more of 2-week sprints versus the week sprint because that gave us more time on the sprint.
Yeah, definitely. What I found is that the sprint duration really depends on team velocity. You don't want a team with really fast velocity to be going off track, and that can definitely happen with longer sprints. So I think that's probably the biggest factor.
Yeah, wow, you make some really good points, man. I'm starting to understand your perspective a little bit more, Patrick. You come from that startup world, so you're using words that not all developers use. You're using words that business people use.
Yeah, I guess you have to wear all the hats in startup. You can't just only focus on code. You got to figure out if the thing that you're writing actually makes sense to write in the first place,
Are you responsible for roles besides engineering? Do you have business responsibilities?
Oh yeah. We all work almost the entire stack from idea conception to building the product feature to testing it with users and then iterating on it. So everybody owns their feature from top to bottom.
I like that. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Like that's something I could do. I could actually do for work. You know.
Yeah, it's
For sure.
amazing. I wouldn't have it any other way because
It
you
sounds
really
free.
understand. Well, yeah, it's freeing for sure. Yeah, and it's so cool to be able to see something like have this thing in your head as an idea, validate your hypothesis with the user research, and then actually see users using this thing that you built and getting value out of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I never really thought about it too much from the business perspective like that. I definitely need to develop those skills and learn how to understand things, understand these phrases that you're saying that contain these business terms as well. That sounds really cool. Yeah,
But I'm
it's
sorry,
such
I
a
didn't even
wider.
realize I was saying in terms that like if there's anything that I'm saying that you don't understand or that I'm happy to define anything. My bad if I was talking too much jargon.
No, no, you weren't. I understand what you're saying. I just don't like think
So
think like
the
that.
reason why Scrum became a huge theme and like a business sort of solution is because it was a better way for developers to incorporate their roles to the sales department. Sales likes to push a lot of stuff onto developers and likes to say that we can do a lot of things in companies. And that agile environment, well, on top of that, it does help keep track of certain things like tasks and daily information. So like it's more of like one of those things where like so every morning you have a scrum meeting, what it's considered, and I'm not sure if you guys do that, Patrick, where every morning you come, what it is you've done, what it is like, what tasks you have that have been completed, and what tasks you are looking to work on that day, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this, Patrick. You mentioned that you don't want a large team with a lot of velocity to get off track. How do you prevent that from happening?
Uh, well, yeah, I think like the one thing that I brought up with shorter sprint duration is really good because if they start to go off track, you can kind of realign them more quickly than um, if it's like 1 week versus 2 weeks, right? And then usually like the teams with the higher velocities though are experienced and they know what they're doing, so it's not typically too big of a problem. Um,
Yeah, experience.
one of probably the biggest thing that we do though is that um, those teams are responsible for everything within their feature, right? So like they're the ones doing the user research, they're the ones doing the uh, for customer requirements, building the actual feature, testing it with users in like one-on-one interviews, analyzing the metrics that they said that they were trying to solve with that feature, and then figuring out if that feature is actually improving, retention or lowering CAC or whatever the thing is that they're trying to fix there. And if it is, it gets included in the product. If not, it doesn't get included.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. All right, it's already 10, man. I was planning to get off at 9. But I'm planning to come back tomorrow, 7 p.m. I'm planning on working on the repair application. This has been my focus for the last couple of weeks. So I want to go ahead and at bare minimum, I want to get this form up and running. I want to at least have the functionality up and running where customers can submit a form, answer the questions, do the self-diagnosis, submit the form, data stores in the database, and then I want to go ahead and build that admin map because that admin map has been something that I wanted to add from the beginning. That's actually using zip code data, so I'm all prepared to start building that. Once that admin dashboard and the sign up form are good and set up, I wanted to start thinking about building out a more complete admin dashboard, basically using all the data that's coming in a valuable way, if we can, because even just the way that you could use zip code data for like analyzing the market, demand, and other things is very powerful, and that's one piece of data. So I'd love to build an admin dashboard. I also love to build the technician dashboard. So I don't know in which direction I'm going to go next, but definitely sign up form, admin map, and then either repair technician dashboard or more comprehensive admin dashboard, and then yeah, we'll go from there. And then, like I said, if anyone has any projects, definitely keep things on mind. And if you come up with anything good, I mean, we had a couple people sharing projects. John and Anna, you guys shared your shopping cart project. You thought that was a good idea. A couple people wanted to work on it. So you guys have your little team now that you're working on. I think Nate's working on it with you too. But Anna and John, you two have been the most committed and consistent, which is beautiful. Hopefully more people will contribute to your project as well. And I'll continue to do what I can to send people your way and help you build that project. Every night, basically, you guys could just go ahead and share it. And if people want to work with you, they want to work with you. If not, they don't. So same way, anyone who has new projects, an idea that's in their mind that they're passionate about and they want to get built, tell your idea to the people. And if the people want to build it, then it gets built. And if they don't, then just I guess develop the idea better, right? Pitch it in a way that is more interesting.
I have a question about like developing ideas. John and I found a framework that's really awesome. You might have heard of it, the 3JS.
Oh yeah,
I would
yeah.
like to learn that and do some kind of a project with that because it looks really awesome. I don't have like a super
That would be
solid
fun.
idea, but I'd love to start with like something small and then maybe do, a couple harder things or something. I just don't know what I would do because it's graphics and like animations and like textures and cameras and like really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really have like a solid project idea yet that would be shareable, but that's something I want to work on.
If you introduce that project, do you feel like you would be able to still complete the shopping cart and work on that one? That's like kind of
Well,
what
that's what I was wondering. I think I'm already overcommitted because I'm doing other things, but
Yep.
it is in the future somewhere. I just don't know where.
Yeah, got you. Because I feel that every day where I'm like, look, I have one project that I'm committing most of my time to, and then I'm basically working on, I'm focusing on repair, but every couple days I'll make a little contribution to the booking system as well. But I'm definitely spread thin.
Yeah.
Once I actually deploy this project that I've been working on for a while, then I'm going to open up a lot because that's most of my attention. So I'm going to really start working on these other projects. So that's why I asked. Ivan actually has another project he wants to start working on besides Momentum that he thinks would be a really good idea. And that's like the main thing. I just want to make sure people aren't spread too thin and you're not biting off more than you could chew, and just like focus on a project, get it deployed, and then once it's deployed, move on to the next one, or whatever you can handle. I just don't want people like burn out and stuff.
For sure. It's also kind of nice to have multiple things going on because like if you get frustrated with something too much, then you can give it a rest.
Yeah.
Come back later.
Yeah, true. Yeah, sometimes I get frustrated with a project, then I'll go focus on another project for a little while, do some other coding, and then actually while I'm working on that project, I'm like, it comes to me. I'm like, yes. When you're not thinking about the problem. So it is nice to have other things to work on too, but there's trade-offs,
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, we'll keep it open. And we'll keep going. I plan on continuing to do this Monday through Thursdays every week. And then we have the data structure algorithm competition on Saturdays. So if anyone's interested in that, feel free to pop in.
How did that go last Saturday? Was there some people here? I didn't make it.
Oh, man, it was fun. Was
it?
Yeah, it was good. I believe, that we had one person who solved all four. Martin, he's in South Korea, but man, he's like top ranked in leak code. He's so smart. He was breaking it down. I was like, dude, I'm like, no, man, because he's like, all you have to do is measure the diameter of tree 1, the diameter of tree 2, and then you have to compare the diameter of tree 1 to the diameter of tree 2, and you also need to compare those two diameters to the diameter divided by 2 times, he says something, and then the other one by diameter 2 divided. I'm like, why are you making it sound like so simple, dude? I'm like, it's not that simple. And then he started talking about the measurements of the center of the tree. And I'm like, man, he says it like I understand it. I'm like, you're going to have to break this down for me more. But it's like 1 a.m. by that time. So my brain's like half shut off and he's explaining these high level mathematical concepts. I'm like, bro, I'm so ready for sleep. But yeah, it was good. Everyone else solved basically the easy and the first medium, and then a few people solved the third medium, or like the one in between, like the harder medium one. So it was cool. We saw a bunch of...
Did you guys go in like breakout rooms or something?
No, we all stay in the same room for that. Just the people who want to solve the problems independently just deafen their headphones and mute their mics, so they're kind of in their own world until the end of the competition, and then they just share solutions at the end.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So a lot of us were just like chatting, talking throughout the competition. So that's cool. Yeah. Aditya, I saw you guys. I was actually planning to pop down there and see what you guys got done, how your night went.
I mean, Ivan Ivan taught me the global state management, really. So now it's like very clear. So like I was able to get the global state management done. So I think that really helped.
Beautiful, beautiful. What did you guys use for global state management?
Over mine.
Gotcha.
I hope Aditya liked it because...
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I never did global state management ever. Like, so this was the first time I did, and it was really great.
That's awesome. Can we see it?
Oh yeah, you can share it, Aditya.
Let me stop sharing.
Let me know once you're able to see the screen.
Yep, I can see.
Oh, which screen are you seeing? Are you seeing my...
Where are you watching your Discord being duplicated 1 million times?
Okay, I shared the wrong screen. Okay, yeah. Let me know if you're able to see the screen now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Remember, you need to go to the client folder to run the scripts.
I think it would fail because we changed it.
Oh, to port 5001? Yeah, you can go ahead and change the port. The problem with Aditya is that he's using the port 5000 somewhere in his...
my port 5000 is getting used.
And he cannot find it.
Where it is getting used.
Can't you just do like control... Can't you just do like a search throughout the whole project and find it?
No. My port 5000 is getting used by some other project running in my system.
Local machine.
Oh, got you.
So I don't know what that. I tried to kill it, but it somehow comes back. So I don't know.
You'll need it in the back end too. Remember that in the the port is being mapped everywhere.
I think that should be good.
Yeah, you should be able to run right there. The thing is that we connected the back end with the front end too today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the way it's here is is that let me get let me just open the overmind. So command shift P. Okay.
So this is an extension, guys, where you see your global state and your actions and every function that you execute to update the state, and you'll see the changes. So you'll need to open the browser to see the changes being reloaded or being loaded. So once he goes to the Vite,
Yeah, because
So that's the action that was executed.
yeah, because yeah, so I think I need to put API.
No, that's so you don't need to hit the back end because that's the front end, the
Oh,
port 3000.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Even though Vite is being mapped to the, that's why it give you the server route because it's being mapped to the API. But right now, if you try to go to your Overmind, and this is good that everybody's watching that. Go to the function and see what the function executed. So try to initialize again. So these are the sample, and it says that the message is no, right? So go to the actions that we just configured.
Yeah.
So in this action, guys, this is we're just getting sending a call to the server, and we saying like if the rest is not null, you can actually put like if rest is equal to null, just to make sure that. And I believe that when we will need to put rest.json in this.
This one.
Yeah, because if
I don't think because
JSON that message. Oh
this-
no, because we're returning null right
yeah,
away.
we are returning message. So
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So yeah, I think
So
it
in
was in
if you go to the effect on Electron,
electron.ts. Yeah, here.
did you
Here.
pull the changes from?
Yeah, I did pull. So that's
Yeah.
but that fetched only the backend changes. So I think in program.fs.
Oh, this is the route that you're hitting. So it's giving you the API routes are working as expected. So you should see that in your message in the browser. So
Yeah.
try to open the localhost 3000 again. Like try to open. Oh, there you go.
But this is the application state.
Let's see.
Oh, it's not. I think this this changed. This method send health message, because I don't know if it was the same before.
I mean, the backend is being hit because if you go to the when you hit the API, it gives you this message. Like if
Yeah, I'm saying backend is it, but so if you see the Overmind state, it's giving me that
this is good that you get this message. So this get health message is in your API in the front end, nothing related to the backend. So go up in the electron.typescript, so in the top, and here is where you're hitting the route. So it says that it didn't put the get health message for some reason. It didn't find this, and this is where we need to debug. So remember your action you are trying to hit. So you're trying to hit that get health message, right?
Correct.
And Overmind is telling you, hey, cannot read the property of undefined when I'm reading this thing. So go to your state right here in the same in the little database icon that you have.
Yeah.
These are your state, and we are trying to target the sample, right?
Yeah.
So this is not being modified by the action.
Correct. Yeah.
But we do indeed receive a good API call, right? Try to see your Vite configuration. And let's see if we have something. Oh, there you go. I believe. Oh, this is good, right?
I just changed it. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if that that is fetched properly or not. In case so it should give me the okay.
Yeah, you see that the backend is sending you the message.
So
You are receiving the message in the client. I would console log in the effects.
Okay, let me do one more test. One more thing. Let me see if the backend call being made is correctly made from the network or not.
Okay.
If I do this, so this should actually make a network call to the 5001, right?
Mhm.
To fetch the APIs. I'm seeing like this is the localhost, which is no, this is 3000.
Your action is being hit right there, and right below localhost.
Correct. And in that actions, there should be a localhost 5000 call being made, right?
Yeah, but that's why eventually that's why you use. That's eventually why you use Overmind, because you should be able to debug
Yeah.
this. But all you have to do is to console log your response.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
So
go
it-
to your effects and log. See if you're getting the. Remember that we put everything in the Electron.
So yeah, I need to put a log in
Go
the
to
Electron.
yeah, go to Electron, and from Electron here in the function you can just log whatever you're receiving.
Okay. So
And you should be able to see that in when you refresh. Oh, look at that! Now it's working. I don't know what happened. Don't tell me. Now
yeah.
it worked.
Now if I go to
This I don't
override,
know. I don't know. This is web development. So
now in the Overmind, I should be able to see the
yes.
messages.
Now
right?
you see that the sample is being changed to that. Yep.
Yeah.
So this is that's what he did. He configured the global state, and if you want, you can show them the configuration that we did, like in the store. So we're calling our global state machine store, like just a store, and each folder of this one represents kind of like a namespace that we configure, and each one of them have its own state, its own actions. And if you go to the app.tsx, they're gonna see how we just calling those two state, like use app state and use app actions, and in the use effect we're just calling the backend. We're just executing that action that calls the API, and then we're setting up the message of the state right there. And the good thing is that we can use this in the entire application. You can have navbar, you can have footers, you can have whatever you want, and you just need to call that state that use app state.
This is the global state config, which is wiring all the states, all the stores together. So
Yeah, so basically all you have to do is, so for example, create another folder, call it, for example, user or profile, copy everything that you have in the sample, import it, and put it right there in that object, and now you have a namespace for profiles.
yeah, and
Yep.
yeah.
You can actually do it if you want, right there. Like you can just create a folder called profile file.
Is there a reason you use global state and not just build the state where it's needed in the application?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Local state can bring you to prop trailing. So when you have a parent that need to pass state to the children, and the children need to pass the same state to a form, and the form has to pass the state to an input, then you have prop trailing. If you have global state, you just have to call this and use it everywhere. You can use it in the form, in the input, everywhere. And also it keeps your components very clean.
I faced this issue on one of the projects when I was working on the Angular project, where in Angular project we had a lot of parent-child components, a lot of child hierarchy. and then I had to pass some object from parent to like the last child, and again send back, and it was like a nightmare to send the data to pass, and that was causing a lot of issues. So, and it was creating like lot of parent-child component logic, like extra boiler code. So using this state management, global state management, I can access that value at any hierarchy level.
Yeah. So if you go to app.tsx, for example, go to the. So let's imagine that you have a form with 16 inputs, and you need to have a state and a set state for 16 inputs. You will have 16 lines of code here with a state and use state, the regular one. But if you just if you isolate your form state in a folder like the file that he just created, now you have all of the actions and all of the states, and you just have to call the state right here. So if you refresh the application now, go to the browser and refresh. If you refresh now, you can show them that just by adding that folder and import it and add it in the configuration, now you will have it in Overmind right there. Now you have an entire state, actions, and effects just for file. You can use the same file object everywhere in your application, which is what I find very, very cool.
Yeah, no, global state management is a very effective in lot of places.
Now,
It
let me
keeps your
ask,
code clean.
is there a way to ensure that only specific components have access to that state though? Because you don't want somebody mistakenly accessing or changing the state from a component that they shouldn't be, right? Is there a way to block that off?
So every state change must be done through an action. So you cannot in the component. I mean, you can do it, but it's an anti-pattern if you go to the component and set the state to a variable or whatever.
But it's possible.
It's just common sense that you don't want to do any type of modification from the component. None. Let's say that you have an input and you want to call onChange. If you go to app.tsx, for example, and you have the input right there, you can just say actions.sample.set name, set forms, set.form.that. So you need to have an action to modify your states. You will never do it from here. And your action, of course, is going to handle the logic. However, we separate the effects from the actions because the effects is the pattern. It's like what you're supposed to do. It's what brings side effects to your state. So because effects is just API calls, that's the side effects that you're having because it's something that depends on the server. We don't have it in actions. We have it in a separate file. So if you go, for example, to the actions, please, of the sample, please. Go to the sample actions. Right here, you see that in the line number 4, we are calling await to another, like this is the side effects that I was talking about. Change message is just setting up the state, but it's setting it with whatever you're receiving from the server. The server logic is not happening right here. Do you understand? Yeah, like it's just a good separation of concern right here. What you have.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, because I'm thinking about it from the perspective, because on the repair application I have a form, but I decided to use context around the parent component so that the children components had access to the state of the form. But if there was another form in my application that required the same state, then I would consider abstracting it up to a global state potentially. Like if there's states that are being used between components, then obviously I would have to wrap them in a global state, right?
Yeah. I have some components in another application that I have. I have another application that have like more than 200 actions. So having everything by folder allows you to So for example, can you go to the app.tsx? Can you call in after the use effect? Can you call the actions? Actions, the variable that you have. Actions, and you put dot. You see that you have the separation of concern right here. You can call application, file, or sample.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to access file, you're not gonna find anything from application, any state from the application or sample. You're just gonna be able to see things belonging to the file. So click on the, choose the application, and put a dot. Even though they have the same name, it's because he used the same name because he copied the file from one folder to the other.
Mm-hmm.
But this could be, for example, set navbar to open, and it's just belonging to that section of the application, not the file or the sample. Do you understand?
Yeah, I could see the benefits of having everything in one place. I could also see the benefits of just having state attached to certain components that are using the state too. Yeah, I could see both sides.
Yeah.
It's very easy to grow an application that gets out of control easily.
This seems more like modularized actually. Like every store has its own properties and its own functions. It's like you're creating like entities, and those entities have their own data members and functions, and you just need to call them whichever entity you want to access.
But is modular I don't think modular is the word though, because if you were trying to, let's just say you were building a form in this application that you wanted to use in another application, separating the state, having the state in a global state where that form changes a global state. Now you also have to extract the state, and those are two separate things. Whereas if you have the use context built into only the components that are using it and you don't extract it to the global level, then when you take this component out of your project and you put it into another project, you only have to bring the components. You don't even have to, because the state lives within the components. So that would be modular.
I mean modular in terms of, I'm not talking in terms of the values or the states. I'm talking in terms of like, it's like in terms of code actually, in terms of entities. Like, I mean, when you're creating those entities like file and application, like normally what you can do is you basically would try to create those, like have the logic to work with those entities within like one single file or like within the, but now.
So you know what, guys? I read an article about that. There was a guy, he's very deep into JavaScript and React. And he said that the thing is that we are trying to maintain the logic and the UI in the same place. So that's where the problem is kind of like happening, because this is a very small component, but there are some components that you will find yourself doing pagination, doing so many things, validations and things like that, and your component can grow easily to 200 lines in functions just to validate and set the state and do things. What that guy says is that keep your component clean, bring your logic to another place. So the way I like to call this store, because it's like you going to the supermarket and going aisle by aisle, going to the grocery aisle and grabbing things from the grocery aisles. Yeah, going to the butcher shop and grabbing meat. Go to the dairy department and you're not gonna find cheese in an aisle because it's gonna get rotten. It has to be in its place. So this is what we're doing here. You have a store, and each folder is supposed to represent a feature of your application. If you have a cart in your application, create a folder that is a cart that is gonna hold the state of how many items you have in the cart, the action of bringing something new to the cart, removing something from the cart. Just have it somewhere that you can access from anywhere, because if you, for example, have the cart where you can remove items from the cart, but you also have in the main UI a button that says less or plus, and you want to call the same function, then you have to create it again. No, you just go to your store, bring your action to remove it from either button, even in the cart or in the main UI. Just click it, remove it, and update the state. if the state is representing in a card how many items you have in the cart, it's gonna update the state in the card and in the cart. So card is just whatever UI you will do to represent the product, right? In the main UI. So we update that like, hey, you chose 3 items, but we also refresh the little red button with 3 that you see in Amazon when you're shopping. It's just because you have it globally. You can use it everywhere. And you don't have to create a state or use prop drilling from parents. We're trying to avoid parents passing things to children.
Yeah, yeah,
We're trying to avoid that.
yeah.
In some cases, when you're using tables and it's very important to have a local state, you will find your state yourself creating if you need to use ref, for example, you will find sometimes places where you'll need to have local state. I'm not saying that it's 100% that you're gonna do everything globally, but think about the scenario that I gave you about the supermarket. It's just having features of your application, parts of your application logic separated away from the UI. The UI just want to present the data without inconvenience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, if we're calling use effect right here because we're saying like, hey, once you mount, please go to the back end and bring me some data so I can display it right here and update the state. But you don't see the fetch call right here in this component. It's very clean because it's abstracted away from here. You know what? You know what I'm saying? If you want to have the whole logic, you need to fetch, await, JSON, set the state. I got the state, put the state. This will be easily more than 15 lines.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And just keeping your components clean.
Go up. Let me see the top of the file real quick. What are you importing? Oh, yep. Cool.
Just importing your store, and you know, we don't do even the use effect of the store right here. We let the actions, because remember that if you call the use effect of the store, of your store right here, you need to set the state in the component, and we don't want to set the state of your global state from the component. We want to let the actions to set the state all the time. The actions deals with the state.
Yeah.
So go to the actions again. I'm sorry. You see that in line number 9, and you see in line number 3, the parameter is destruction in the state of the context, but the context is the configuration that he just showed you. Is the index of the same folder above. So he's destructuring the state and the effects, and he can call the actions too. Like, let's say that he wants to call actions from, this is the sample. He wants to call actions from the application. He can call the action and set loading to false, for example, from another feature of your application, because he can destructure the actions right here. He's just not calling it because he doesn't need to use it here. He's using effects and updating the state. That's all he's using.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry if I talk too much.
You're good. You're good. That's a great explanation. I was looking at an article that said that's why I asked if there's a way to block off access to the state, because if you can affect the state, change the state from any component, then like you're not going to do that. But if there's no comments, you never know. Like someone else can go ahead and write some code that affects the state from a component that's not supposed to be accessing the state. If they can access it, then maybe they will. That's why I wonder if there's a built-in feature where you could just block off, where you could only give access to the state to the components that are going to be using the state. If there's a way to build that in.
I didn't think about that perspective. I realized that this is not, like, I believe that this is just supposed to have a big object available for every component. But you're right. Like, if you think about it, it takes someone that needs to know what he's doing, need to know what a global state is, so they don't mess around with it.
Yeah.
So like if you submit a pull request to this project and I see you doing like state that sample that message
Yeah.
is equal to my name in the component, I will reject it and say like, dude, what are you doing? Like we don't state,
Yeah.
we don't edit the state within the component. You need to create an action to modify this state.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could kind of just be the gatekeeper to bad code, basically.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in the end, is whoever is the senior dev in charge of the project that is supposed to say like, I know what everything needs to be organized, how this is organized, and everybody needs to know the organization that we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
I got rejected when I got my first job. They introduced me to F Sharp, and I didn't have any experience in React and this tool. I didn't understand for a whole week why he was doing it that way. And when I did this bunch of state locally, he just did a big review rejection. Ivan, take this example and send it again. And then I understood that I had to refactor the entire component that I did.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I know there's always trade-offs with all the different solutions. That's why I'm just trying to get different ideas and perspectives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
But I hope you like it. There is another technology I wanted to share with you. If you guys ever find yourselves trying to create a documentation for any of your application, can you navigate to Docusaurus in your browser so they can see? Have you guys heard about Docusaurus?
No.
So this is MD files made in the React application. So you see this, you just download it and start editing your MD files and look at the demo. That's the same thing that you have right there. You have the navigation, you have installation. It comes with predefined with all of those. Like go back to the Docusaro playground that you have in the back, like that one. And you see the project is just a React, but this is the same website that you get. You get the introduction, getting started, installation, configuration. You get the navigation, the versioning, English, Spanish, dark and light mode. You just get the whole thing right here, and you can just create a documentation for your project. And a lot of, like, I believe even React uses things like this to create documentation. And now you can go to the sandbox that you open, and look, this is just another React, and you edit blogs and run the PNP star and just start editing your documentation. And you can host this statically in GitHub or Azure for free because it's a static application, no backend.
Nice, nice. I like it.
So I wanted to share that tool with you, see, and just in case you ever need to create documentation.
Yeah, definitely send the link in the chat if you can.
Docusaurus. I know it's a funny name, but
oh, yep. Yeah, Electron said that you could create different configurations for the global state. That makes sense.
yep. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Finally, we have the back end together with the front end. We can start rock and rolling. We just need to configure Postgres.
Nice, nice. You're making a lot of progress. That's what's up.
I don't feel like because everything is just set up right now. We don't have UI, we don't have anything. But I believe the most important part is having good testing, like good testing configuration for unit test, having a good project structure, having a good onboarding so any developer can come and try to make contributions right away, very easy. So that's why Docker took some kind of like a whole day to configure, and that everything works as expected. And now once you have everything set up, it's just now let's go to the fun and let's build the UI, the menu, the sidebar, the cards, the buttons, and just have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sounds good. That's what's up.
How do you guys do? I know that we took like the whole, I don't know, 1 full hour to explain this, but how do you guys do?
We actually didn't do any coding, man. He left. I think his name was Patrick. He was asking a bunch of questions, so I was kind of just chatting with him.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
In the
because
end, we're here to learn. Like
yeah,
we're here
basically
to
what he was
learn.
saying was that we have the project perspective, but have we ever asked the attendees if they're interested in just learning a language? Like, what language are you interested in learning? Most people said that they don't really care the language. They just want to code, they want to build projects and get their hands dirty, that sort of thing. So,
You know that in an interview, that's what got me the job. They told me like, Ivan, what is your preferred language? I said that you've done C# in the past. They didn't tell me that I was gonna be working in F#, and it was the first time that my brain just froze and said like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Language is just a tool. Tell me what you want to build and give me a week, and I'll learn the language. Because in the end, everything is a freaking variable, function, and types, and BS, and object, and it's just a little bit of syntax and how you declare a thing, and that's it. So I told him like, I work on any language. If you want me to do Python, I'll do Python, because in the end, it's just a programming language. It's just a tool that you need to learn and learn the syntax. Because in the end, you're gonna be using for loops, conditionals, and blah 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 in every single language. So
yeah,
who cares?
That's a good
And they
answer.
gave me the job. They told me like, man, this is the guy we need. Like, we don't need somebody that knows F#. We want someone that comes and is willing to do the thing with the language that we already used.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's a good
Yeah.
answer.
So for any of those who haven't gone to an interview, don't fall into that trap. If I would have said like, oh man, I just like C#, they think that you just married to a language and you're not willing to do anything else in any other language, and that's bad.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So tomorrow, when I come back, yeah, I have a couple things that I want to get done. I'm probably gonna get this form done before the session, and then yeah, I guess the map would be the next thing to start getting set up. The Docker containers running smoothly. For those who want to contribute, it's just you just run make init one time, and then
Jim, what are you using for maps?
for what?
For the maps, you're using Google?
Yeah, Google Maps. Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever used the free one? I believe it's called Mapbox.
No, haven't.
I want to take a look at it because I'll need a map too, because my thing will eventually use locations too.
Oh yeah, true. I've
Yeah.
actually never even. I've only used Google Maps one time, but I wanted to get good with it, so figured I'd use that one.
I saw that Apple and who else? Apple and Amazon for their deliveries. They use Mapbox, but it's not as good as Google Map. Google Map is just reaching information.
What is it called? Mapbox.
Leaflet.js is also there. Leaflet you can use. Leaflet is good.
Mapbox.
Oh yeah.
Leaflet I'm saying.
Does Leaflet have the same functionality where you could import data?
Yeah, so it's basically import shape files. That's what data is.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know that Google will. I'll just share the link of Mapbox. I believe that's open. I know they say pricing right there, but I know that they have free things for developers. So.
Leaflet.js is a free library. It's an open source library.
Oh really?
Yeah.
How do you call it? Leaflet?
I've posted the
They post a link.
not the link. Let me post the link.
Oh,
Yeah.
Leaflet. You see, this is why this kind of like things are so cool, because we can learn a lot from each other. I never heard about that.
Oh yeah,
I've
you're
used
right.
Leaflet a lot. I've used Leaflet a lot for my current job as well. It's actually very good. But it's just that my current job was more about working with shape objects. That's why I needed Leaflet.
Oh, I
Leaflet,
like this.
Leaflet is very interactive and it's very easy. It's very easy.
If
I
it's
like this.
if
That you
it's
can drop a
free,
point.
it's free. and it's focused. Whereas if you go to Google Cloud and you're trying to go through the documentation, they have hundreds of different things. This is just map. That's
Oh
what it
yeah,
says.
that's what I like. And you don't see the word pricing anywhere.
I know, and it still has the same functionality. So it has the vector layers. You could create polygons with the zip code coordinate data. So that's gonna do everything.
Thank you for sharing that. They're gonna complain about me soon. I'm gonna make like million requests a day. Hey, who's this guy?
There's got to be.
I always wanted to have like a fully free map to play with.
Yeah, I've built heat maps on Leaflet, so it's very easy and it's very
Map. Oof.
yeah.
Cool, man.
And that too, like it all depends on how your shapefile is. So you can also have layers of shapefiles. Like there are different formats of the visuals. For example, there is like you would have like a CartoDB, which basically is a black and white like boxes layers. Then you would have a colored map as well. So there are like multiple base maps you can have, and then you can have polygons over those base maps.
This is exactly what I want. How do you guys pretend to save things in the database? Just the longitude and latitude, or just?
So it depends. Like if it's just latitude, longitude, then you can store them as like a normal table format. But the polygons are usually shape objects. Those are like JSON objects. So it's better to save them as shape files like .shp. That's the shape file. So we usually store them as shape files because loading those shape files is not difficult.
Yeah. Well, I like that I have you on my team, so I need your help.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like this tool. This is good.
This is great. Yep.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, probably go with that. I like that one. There's another option that you shared that I'll check out, but I really like that one. It does everything. I mean, the fact that it's free, it still has the same functionality and it's focused. That's like the main thing for me. Because Google Maps is free right now, but eventually it'll start charging, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They limit their thing.
Cool. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna hop off. It's 10:50. I was actually planning to hop off at 9, so almost 2 hours late. But yeah, cool. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working on the repair app. We'll get right to it. I'm gonna try to just start coding as quickly as possible, though, just to get to it, you know. So maybe I'll share first tomorrow, break out into a room, and then I don't know. We can figure it out. Cool. All right, everyone have a good night. I will see you all tomorrow.
Alrighty. Bye, guys.
Peace.